All right, and we are live for a very special episode 100. I cannot believe we're at 100 episodes of this, of the PHU Dynasty podcast. Lots of great times. We have so much to talk about today. We are joined this time by General Manager of the Lauderdale Lionheads, Vincent Patrick Nanny. Unfortunately, Alex will not be joining us for the State of the Union, but has promised to do one in the next couple of weeks. So we will work on getting that available because I know people do want to hear that
We have
for what it's
questions.
worth. What's that?
We have questions.
I mean, there's many
And he doesn't
questions.
have answers.
Maybe we can give some questions for the State of the Union tonight. Maybe some things that
Certainly
will be
could.
needing to be addressed.
We can
We can
certainly
watch
do
this
that. I
tape.
mean, so we are going to do the Muskrats team review. So that'll be I'm going to venture to say a lot shorter than the other team reviews based on the
Risk.
players on those teams. So it's just I think it's going to be a good forum to ask the questions for that State of the Union event. So that's a very good point. We're also going to talk about the league as a whole, kind of like who we think are playoff teams, who we think maybe missed the playoffs, what who our picks are to win it all. We're also going to talk about week one matchups because we finally have. We're only 2 days away from the first game. I can't believe it. It's taken so long, but we're here. It feels like longer this time than ever. So we got week one matchups. Dustin still hasn't made his cuts. There's so much to talk about. I can't wait to get into all this. So and then we also have James's Excel spreadsheet. I don't know if he's put it in the chat for everybody at this point, but we'll go through it. It's our league history, who's won the league, who's done, who basically had the best runner-up years. Lots of really good information. So
A lot
that'll
of
be
fun
fun to talk about.
math,
A lot of math, more math than I was
but like
expecting, to be
really
honest.
fun legacy math. Like how good was that championship relative to that year? You
Mm-hmm.
know, there were some things where it's like, some of the highest scoring teams all were in the same year. So it's like, saying that they're the best team. It's like, well, or were you just in a year that had bad defenses and stuff? So there's just really good math. And it's even color coordinated. So if you don't like just staring at a brick wall of numbers, you don't have to worry about it. It's beautiful too.
I mean, the green, the red, the yellow, the orange, it's beautiful. It really is. It just
Very
visually
easy to
show
read.
you which teams, like especially like some of the Dan years where he missed it, like 3 years in a row, but like how good were those teams? Was that actually even really truly a better team than the championship team? So there's a lot of cool stuff in there, and we'll get to that. So, all right. So I think we're gonna start by just getting it out of the way early. Let's get this Muskrats team review up and out. And we'll start by I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to talk about the team review page. Um, and we'll go through each of the positions. And as we kind of decided earlier on, we're not going to spend a ton of time kind of talking about each player because frankly, a lot of these players are flat out cuttable. They would not make other rosters, frankly. Pretty much any of the players that are like 2,200 and under and keep trade cut value kind of not really worth talking about for the most part, but there definitely are like a couple randos in there that we'll talk about as well. So as you can see, this is a team that is young at 25 average age. He has traded his own first for this year, so the tank doesn't really help for this year. Does have his 27 first and Scavelli's 27 first, but realistically, not a whole lot going on pick wise this year. So that's not great for the start of the rebuild, and will definitely kind of delay the rebuild, if you will. But we can start right at the top with quarterbacks. Frankly, I think this is the best position group as a whole, I would say at this point. I mean, maybe tight end, you could argue. But having a couple of legitimate dynasty assets, in Patrick Mahomes, Cam Ward, even Geno Smith to some extent, just kind of as like that number 3 stopgappy kind of quarterback. I guess we could start with Mahomes. Now, his value truly at 5,500 seems to me like it's still a little high for my liking, considering he hasn't really been the old Patrick Mahomes in terms of like him, ripping touchdowns, and it's been a little bit ho hum over the last few years. So I guess my question for you guys, where do you see Mahomes kind of slotting into this year in like a redraft league? Because I've seen a little bit of everything from him, but some people are really high on the Chiefs offense this year.
I would tell you that Sean and I are probably the worst people you could ask that to, considering I bought Pat Mahomes off of Sean in another dynasty league.
Oh, interesting. So you
So
guys are the right
we,
people to talk to.
we are probably the most biased sources on this there could be. Well, I mean, I bought because I think that Pat Mahomes is a depressed dynasty asset. When you look at the shelf life of quarterbacks, not that many do go strong over their 30s. But if you were going to bet on somebody to do it, somebody who has the arm talent, the the history, Pat Mahomes is that guy. He's still with Andy Reid. I think they're chasing Shula. Um, and Belichick not worthy of that, as we all saw last night. Atrocious.
Pretty rough
But
out there.
I think Mahomes is an asset that could get better. How much better though? Like if you look at it from a raw number standpoint, like keep trade cut, he's 5,400. You know, is he ever going to be higher than 8,000 again? No, I can't see it. I couldn't see it.
I
I
mean,
think the
he was
most
at
he can
8,700 at one point in 2023. It's crazy.
is
In a
bananas.
one QB too. I guess at this point, Sean, I don't. Do you have any like what kind of projections do you have on him? I guess before we move forward.
I closed my projection sheet. I should have kept that open for these pods. I know I had Mahomes kind of in like that muck outside of like the elite quarterbacks, where it's like from quarterback like 8 to like 18, it was just kind of a giant scrum of guys, and he was definitely in there. I mean, he's still that guy. He just hasn't had much to work with the last 2 seasons. I mean, like he had no tackle play. I mean, he played most of the season without Rashi Rice. Travis Kelsey's old. So you talk about him and like Xavier Worthy and no tackle play last year, and the guy still made it to the Super Bowl. So like, not really worried about the talent level. I don't think any of us are worried about that. It's just like, is Simmons a quality left tackle? Can his playmakers be on the field outside of the suspension for Rice? If he has all those things going, like, there's no reason he can't be a top 5 quarterback this year to me. But I think at this point, it's just a matter of like, is their defense still elite? If it's still elite, he's really not going to have to do as much. If their defense takes a step back and he has to chuck it more, then that's where that depressed value like really comes in, and like you could see it come back up. Not to the point that Vince was talking about before, but it could definitely come back up for sure.
Yeah, I think the most he's coming to is 7,000 at the most, but I think it's more likely to hover at between 6 and 6,500 if you talk about an upswing. That's like the most likely an upswing would go. So like, if you're Alex, you can hold him. How
I was
long
gonna
can
say,
you
like, what
hold
do you
him?
do with him now at this point? Like, because we're at the point where this is a guy that can actively, specifically next year, this is a guy that can actively not, like, he could ruin your tank. Like, he is not a tank commander. So I don't feel like this is a player that you would really want to keep on a team like Alex's. However, you're not right now going to get that top value. So I think we're in a bit of a hard spot where it's like, yeah, we need to probably trade him, but he's not worth trading at this point because his value is so depressed. I think you need to wait until maybe there's an injury or like an uptick in production or something. But even then, like somebody needs to need a quarterback as well. And I
Yes.
don't think
And
anybody needs one.
Nope. I was gonna get to that. The musical chairs of quarterback. Everyone found a spot right now. Everyone has a starter at least that they could say, "Hey, this guy can be QB 8, QB 9." Everyone feels good about it. Like even me, I have one of the worst quarterback situations, and someone like me is like, I could talk myself into Kyler Murray with Bryce Young and
I
Penix. Like they're warm bodies.
I would say this whether you were on the pod right now or not, but like outside of like a Kyler Murray injury, like Vince trading for Mahomes, like is the only thing that
Yeah,
kind of makes sense to me
I
from a
agree.
roster standpoint in the league. So
And
yeah,
I mean, at the price he's at now, I mean, his value is depressed, but he's still a late 1, early 2 in value according to keep trade cut value, and that's a tough thing to give up for a quarterback who's 30, who might not be running as much as he used to be. Like, there's a lot of question marks there. So,
No, the
uh,
best thing I would want to do is turn a quarterback I already have into that plus what gets me Mahomes
right,
based
yeah,
on
if
how
it would almost
guys are
have to be
playing.
like a Penix plus something or something
Yep.
that makes sense for Alex's rebuild. But that's I guess a bridge you can cross later if you really need to get to that point. But realistically, like I just don't think there's a lot of suitors. Like you can kind of you have the leverage here in terms of like Alex doesn't have a lot of options to actually trade Mahomes to another team because everybody like realistically the big one was Adam. with getting with Josh
Absolutely.
Allen, and realistically before that, like he could have made a deal with him with first round picks involved or whatever, but it didn't happen for one reason or another. So now he's kind of left holding the bag here. So interesting though for next year specifically, because I really think like Mahomes is the guy that like he can drop a 40 and ruin your tank, overnight basically. And I personally would not want that on a tanking team. So it's hard.
No, like Sean said, if they are in a game where the defense is faltering, they're going to call him their guy, and he will deliver. And I think before we talk about Cam Ward, let's just talk about Geno Smith too, because I think Geno Smith is a shittier version of Pat Mahomes from a dynasty standpoint, a veteran quarterback that like, I don't really care what his keep trade cut value is. Yeah, it says 2026 early to mid third, like. You're going to have to find someone in a real fucking hole for them to just snap, okay, boom, here.
Yeah, it's a situational based thing. It's got to be like you need somebody to actually like have 2 QB injuries and be desperate and need somebody to get you into the playoffs and like just hold the fort down. And like in a especially a 10-man league like we have, almost everybody has at least 2 that are, you can somewhat rely on, I would say. Some people even have 3 or 4. So like
Depending on the
it's
time
tough
of year,
competition.
new people could be there available to sell a quarterback. Like Justin may not be doing as well, or James, and they may say, "I have a backup that I'll give you for a third. Don't get him. Mine's better."
I mean, Scavelli's got 6 quarterbacks, like, and if he could easily move one, I think at this point. So
yeah, sorry, Sean, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, just a addendum to that. Like, Keep Trade Cut is valuing this based off of 12-man leagues.
Of course.
And for the onesie positions, that can really kind of skew it compared to like what the value is inside of our own league. So even if it says like that, like is anybody
I depress it even more
like
than
a
that.
4th round pick?
Yeah, 4. Yeah. And I think a 4 is like I still wouldn't even feel good about trading a 4th for Geno Smith.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
you have to be
I
down
don't.
pretty bad. Like
You just need to start him. Hey, I know this isn't insurance. This is a starter. That's how you have to think of it. So that's why I feel like they kind of went together.
They
but
do.
I still think that I don't want to downsell this unit, as you said before. This will be the unit we spend the most time on, probably, because it's the best unit on the team. It's the only unit. Hot take, early hot take for the hot take episode. This is the only unit on Alex's team that has 3 starters. Nothing else has 3 startable assets.
I mean, maybe tight end, maybe. Like I'm really reaching, but maybe. Like,
I think you're reaching. Gesicki,
oh my god!
Laporta, and then pick them.
Jig staring you in the face. Oh my god, Eric!
I mean, Alex. I think he might be the worst starting tight end in the league. Chigazim. I think he's terrible.
I think we've had that conversation before.
I mean, I know I've talked about it at least.
I'm pretty sure I was holding the fort down as Doctor Strange, and we were talking about that once. But
did he say that before the Denver game?
Can we talk about the fun player in that room in Cam Ward?
Yeah, let's go back.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that's why I said there were 3 starters. This is the best one.
Sir, there are 4 starters. Spencer Rattler is starting football.
No.
Dude, how bad are the Saints going to be? They're going to be awful. Anywho, so Cam Ward, frankly, I'm kind of low at 4,500. Like, I know that this is a 1 QB league, but like I feel better than that. I mean, I'm a believer, so I've seen enough to like with the preseason, with what I saw on college tape, with where he was drafted. Like, I think he's got the it, and I think there's like that's a piece of the puzzle. Like, he's got that it factor for me, and he's got the confidence, he's got the moxie. I'm a believer. I don't know about you guys.
Just for the pure, like, disrespectful amount of lack of coverage of him.
Is he the least talked about first pick ever?
I hope he's just awesome
as a quarterback.
Just for that reason alone. Like,
it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, literally nobody. Like, Shadur's gotten 7 times as much coverage, and he's a 5th rounder. Like, it makes no sense. And I think Cam is a legitimately good first overall draft pick. Like, I do believe that.
And he's just fun to watch. Like, he's like in the preseason, you just watch him. He'll get like a fucking bootleg with like a flood concept going, and he will take the deep throw every time. Like, stuff like that is like, it's the same reason we like watching Penix, because he just goes for it. Like, and that's been such a thing that's been lacking in the NFL the last couple of years, where it's just been very much like, let's matriculate the ball down the field, dink and dunk, and like it's kind of boring.
I don't want to drift too far into it, but yeah, I mean, it's looking like Penix made DeBoer as it stands right now.
I mean, dude, Kalen DeBoer's he's on more than a hot seat right now. That guy is.
Yes, but I'm all.
Anyway.
I agree with you, Eric. He passed the eye test for me in college, so I didn't really even need it to be passed in preseason. I think he's really good. I don't. Was that the right pick for Alex? It's not like he fell to him in the third and Alex scooped him up. Like Alex paid that premium that Sleeper is basically saying.
I think it was 2.9.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah.
Or not Sleeper. Keith AC. When we talk about it going from like 12 to 10 people, like.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Like it's tough because like, and in this league specifically too, the one thing that to me with Ward that holds him back from a fantasy value and a dynasty value standpoint is he doesn't really run a lot, and I think that's. Like to me, his ceiling is like in that range of like CJ Stroud, like that kind of quarterback where yes, he can run if he has to, but like you're not relying on it week to week. And he's gonna need to throw a ton of touchdowns to make it work, basically from a fantasy value standpoint. So I don't know if like even like if this was last year and we were talking about Alex getting like Jaden Daniels at 2.9 or Caleb Williams in the second or like one of those guys from last year. I feel a lot better about that pick because at least you know that there's some, even Bo Nix, like a little level of upside with that ground game. And I don't see that right now with Ward, and I don't think it's coming.
No, and I reached on Bryce Young a couple years ago at 2.4, and it was just kind of, for need of quarterback. And if they don't like show out like a Jaden Daniels, it's just such a grind with their value because then they become in that like dime a dozen, like, hey, quarterback 12 through 24. Everyone has a guy who's kind of in that running. Cam Ward's not, he's there kind of, but he's a guy who can easily, he's an ascending asset. And for Alex's quarterback room, he's the only ascending asset. There is no others. So, it's a nice piece to have, I guess. Like I said, Alex paid, but I get why he paid, and he can now comfortably trade Geno and Pat Mahomes and still sleep at night.
Yeah, I think realistically, just for building the team, and if he wasn't going to get a quarterback in return, like a Penix deal, like we were talking about with you, like at least he has something, in case he does trade both of those guys if he absolutely has to. But realistically, like for his team at 2.9 too, if you kind of look at the draft board, the way it fell, there wasn't like a kind of a no-brainer in the second round like this year. I feel like at that spot, I think a lot of the guys kind of went in that top 13-ish picks where it was like, oh yeah, that's like a Caleb Johnson no-brainer, or like a RJ Harvey in the second or something. Like there wasn't that guy at 2.9 this year, and even last year it wasn't that way either, because I've always talked about in this podcast that the top 15 picks are kind of like what I consider premium. And once you get past 15, you start getting into that range of like everybody's got a question mark. So like last year, I think 2.9 was like Marshawn Lloyd. And then this year it was Cam Ward.
Jalen
so like,
Wright was like 2.7, 2.8,
yep.
too.
Like
so,
Jalen Polk, Adonai Mitchell from my team. Like, so there's guys that just, the hit rate goes way down. So like this is the safest 2.9 pick I think you could make, like given the situation. So I don't want to shit on that pick at all, really, because that's kind of made the most sense, honestly.
No, that's why I said I get it why he did it for his team, but yeah, I guess we'll move on. Running backs, there's nothing to talk about for me. What about you? Jordan James, maybe he's cool, but I don't want to spend more than 20 seconds on him.
I mean, to me, I don't have Trevor Etienne even remotely close to 2,600 in value. That not for me, at least. Like I would take Jordan James over him without a question. I think the only thing maybe notable to talk about with Etienne is the fact that Alex used one of the picks that he got with, I think it was my pick, maybe.
It was Dan's pick,
or is it Dan's?
I believe, in the Scavelli deal for Higgins, I want to say.
I think it was a fourth or a third. I can't remember.
It was a fourth, I want to
say. So, like, I just don't like taking the fourth string running back, the third or fourth string running back, who I didn't even like to begin with on a rebuilding team. To me, like, I would have shot for a running or a receiver or something with more upside to actually like turn into a dynasty asset. I don't see Trevor Etienne turning into a dynasty asset.
Trevor's Etienne's last name was Trevor Smith, would this player have been a fourth round pick? I don't think he would have been drafted.
I mean, I don't think it
Dynasty.
definitely doesn't move the needle for me at all with a name like Smith. So, I mean, he's just not a guy I'm interested in at all, really. And I have the entire Carolina backfield, and I have no interest in acquiring Trevor Etienne. So that tells you everything. So, like,
Yep.
Jordan James, I actually think has some level of upside because of just like the ambiguity of, Christian McCaffrey's injury history and the fact that he's young. And I mean, now it kind of hurts a little with Brian Robinson coming in. But like now they always use running backs. Even the fourth string running back always finds a way on the field for 49ers. Damian Martinez literally just got cut off the practice squad today, which I like Damian Martinez. So I don't really know what the hell's going on with him. There's something behind the scenes.
The list of failures after that too goes on. Elijah Mitchell, Khalil Herbert, Chestnut, not rosterable. Probably would not be rostered by, dare I say, any other team in the league.
There's no way those guys. I mean, Pierce, like maybe.
I will light a candle real quick for Dameon Pierce just because of the ambiguity going on in Houston right now, and I'm not expecting Mixon to play this year, just from what I've read and looked into. So like you're talking about competing with Nick Chubb and Woody Marks, like there's an option there, and like I think the smart move would be like if anything happens with Pierce earlier on in the season is just to like ship him like as quickly as possible. If I'm Alex, if something like that happens. So.
I mean, you got to get anything for him because he's right. And as it stands, like literally 2 weeks ago, he was cuttable. Like he just, before the preseason started, he was cuttable.
I think every running back he has is a sell high. If any of them ever pop up in value, peak in value, gone.
What's crazy about this room, and then we can wrap it up after this, like there isn't a single guy that has like outside of Pierce that has like a legitimate chance to actually touch the ball early in the season, which is like at least Dan's team. Like you can maybe make an argument for like a guy or two. Like there is just nothing here in terms of like upside. Like I don't see upside here.
Imagine hearing from somebody that, yeah, man, you want this dynasty team? The average age of the running back room is 24 years old. You'd be like, 24 for running backs? Oh my God, he must have a ton of studs, young guys. Not one of them is rosterable. You'd be like, what?
I mean, it's just it's barren. Yeah,
it's gonna be like the equivalent of the South Park cripple fight between Alex and Dan because one's got Chubb and one's got Dameon Pierce.
Which Houston running back like
value, baby?
That week 4 rivalry matchup for Dan and Alex is going to be unbelievable at running back. Might be the worst running backs ever.
Justin walks in with Woody Marks. Kids, you're both awful.
Woody Marks off the top rope. All right, that was probably too much time, honestly, on the running backs. Let's go to receivers. There's actually a few guys here, so that we can at least talk about the top 2 rookies. Luther Burden being a huge, piece of that Puka Nacua trade. 1-9 overall. I guess, has your opinion on this trade changed anything or at all since it actually went down back in April? Like, how do you feel about it now, I guess?
No.
That says everything. Just nothing.
I still don't like.
Still doesn't feel good.
It's atrocious. I think it's bad. It's bad everything. It's bad dynasty process. It's bad value. You name it. I don't want to be like Adam Scheffler here, but I don't think that a lot of people got offers for Puka. Doesn't feel like he was shopped around.
I would have paid more. I'll stand right here and say I would have paid more.
I have a third of the league in this call right now, and they didn't get Puka shopped to them. So when you consider that with some other sources I've talked to, obviously you guys know Dan and I are good friends. We talk all the time. So like, I don't think there were a lot. Like I can't even call it settling. It's like there's not even like a word for it. It's just not like you went over and just gave it away. It's the now let them have it, SpongeBob. You can have it. Like that's the closest thing I can compare it to.
I mean, even we'll talk about it later on the trade tree, but the Chuba Hubbard trade that I got with him involving 2-2, I sent him the offer and there wasn't really much of a contemplation. Like there was kind of just like okay, we'll throw in this and then we're good. Like I don't think he went around and shopped Chuba Hubbard to anybody, to my knowledge.
Wouldn't that still be bad process though? I mean, any way you want to spin it.
No, it's terrible. Like to me, process. Like I don't know how if you have a guy that has, especially Puka, where it's like 24-year-old stud receiver, how do you not at least get, talk to a couple other people that might need receivers or people with the first round picks that you're looking for, like a Dustin or something? Because I'd be shocked if Dustin, with all the picks that he had, if Alex hadn't, hit him up and be like, hey, like, what do you think about Puka for 2 firsts or something, or Puka for a couple of seconds and a first or something? Like, you
Hey
probably would
Vince,
have
you
got a
look
better
like you
deal.
need a wide receiver. You might be stuck with Golden or Ibuka. You want to just punt on that and take Puka Nakua and maybe trade me some other picks too?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a
then you're moving
no-brainer
up
for everybody.
spots ahead of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sit here and harp on it too much, but that's it. The process did not feel thorough in any way, shape, or form on the Puka deal.
No, and I will say this for it. Uh, back, Adam Schefter, my sources put this in Keep Trade Cut when it happened, and it was labeled, drumroll please, fair. Now, do I think that's fair? No, but it was listed as a fair deal. And I think it probably would still be if you put in Cam Ward and Luther Burden plus whatever he got in the third.
Trevor Etienne or whatever the hell that was.
No, I
Yeah.
think that was the fourth with Dan's. I do think it was the fourth with Dan's, but still, I think it would probably still add up to Puka Nakua. So I guess I just feel like bad dynasty process. He could have shopped around and got more for what is a really good asset. And I think you could have got more not only in like, oh, but I didn't want players. I only wanted picks. Fine. I still think you could have got more in picks.
And I still think at the time, with what was on the board at 1-9, that's another piece of this puzzle. Like
What I was
Luther,
just looking at.
like you
Yeah.
took Luther Burden at 1-9, where, like, I think going into the season, most people would have been like, oh yeah, like let's lose for Luther, and like all the names that they had, like it was like he's gonna be the guy that you want in this draft class. But this is before Ashton Genty even was a remote thought. Everybody was like, let's just tank for Luther Burden. So I
Yeah.
wonder if Alex kind of just had that just in his mind from the beginning of the season. He's like, I don't care, like he's still the same prospect, the same level of prospect that I
Fuck
thought at
it.
the
Trade
beginning
up
of
for
the
Ollie
season.
Gordon too. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, Ollie Gordon would have been a first round pick.
Yeah.
Why not?
Same concept. I mean, maybe that had something to do with it, but I just think like at 1-9, I mean, it wasn't a great spot to trade into, frankly, because like I don't think, like I mean, I would have rather at the time, I definitely would have rather had Ekbuka, a few picks earlier. I would have rather had Matt Golden a few picks earlier.
Would definitely rather have had Henderson. I would have definitely
Much
rather have
rather,
had
yeah.
Pet. Like,
Considering I moved up to 110 behind him, like why not just trade that pick again? Like just trade down and just get a bunch of
just
assets
flip it
for
immediately.
1-9. Because those running backs would have gone at 1-9, 110 instead of 110, 2-1.
And there's a specific person in this call named me who would have absolutely called about that 110 to try to get a Caleb Johnson or to try to get a running back. Because at that time I was praying that the trio of Caleb Johnson, RJ Harvey, and I believe maybe one other back, like I was hoping they would all fall to me, or one of them would fall to me at that 2-2 spot, and none of them did. That's how the Chuba trade ended up transpiring, because none of them were there, and I was like, I need a running back. So like I would have absolutely considered trading assets to move up and get, one of those picks if Alex had chosen to kind of shop around some more. But once again, I don't think the process was there to kind of, maybe think through how to get the most possible assets and the best possible assets for a guy like Puka. That's really what it comes down to. But let's end it there and just talk about Burden specifically, just as a prospect. I like him still. I still think the upside is there. I don't love it at 1-9. I still don't love it at 1-9. But I just think this offense is so flush with talent at this point, with just so many options, and the way that it's been in the past, outside of Sun God out there in Lion Land, like it's kind of just a week to week. Like, what are we gonna get? I think, and that's where I kind of end up with the Bears this year. I think it's not really going to be that strictly focused on one player. So like, where do you guys have Burden like this year moving forward?
Go ahead, Vince.
Like Luther Burden's one of those players that I think he did it because it's a situation that we don't know what's going to happen. So the uncertainty can breed him taking a risk that value can increase. Burden's price is baked in that DJ Moore and Roma Dunze are there and they're all both being productive. If one of them doesn't pan out for whatever reason, injury, bust. Like, DJ Moore is good, but we got 2 good guys behind him. Let's trade him after this year to a desperate team. If any of those things happen, Luther Burden's value is skyrocketing. Luther Burden's value could jump receivers and players taken ahead of him if that happens. And so I think Alex was going for that with that move. And I see the vision. It just kind of falls into again, is this the process for getting this player? Was this the best way to get this player? Did we have to get this player via any means necessary? But it seems like we've gotten all our players via get them by any means, no matter how much we have to overpay, and that's led to our cupboards being bare.
Yeah. So if there's nothing else on Burton, Sean, we'll just go to Jaden
I
Higgins.
can bleed this into one of the hot takes if you want.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. We'll get an early hot take. Why not?
Yeah.
So I was between 2 when it came to the Bears, and I'll do door 1, which is the one I actually picked, and that's Olamide Zaccheaus will end with more receiving yards this year than Luther Burden.
I don't even think that's that crazy though.
I do. Oh my goodness.
He's definitely ahead of him right now in terms of who's going to play.
So that's the one I ended up going with because I think it's the more believable one compared to the other one, which is that they like Burden and DJ Moore ends up getting traded halfway through the year.
That I could see too because his contract is pretty hefty and maybe they just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Move that contract this season, so a little hard to believe, but that's kind of where I'm at. I think he's just a little buried, and it'll feel he could be like this season's like rookie JSN. Like if everything works out for him, like where rookie season's like, okay, we all know he's buried behind 2 guys that are good. And then things just kind of start to chip away and break out for him in year 2, which when you're a team that's in the full tank mode, I guess that's something you could talk yourself into waiting for. But yeah, I just not expecting much this year from Burden, not even for a lack of his talent, just buried.
Yeah, and I think it's just important quickly to mention before we move on here. It's like I do think he's talented. Like he's athletically extremely gifted, and if there's any coach I trust at this point to get the most out of a guy like Burden, it's probably going to be Ben Johnson. So like the bet is not a bad bet. It's just the process to get there, I think, is the issue here. But moving on, so I guess really, I mean, there's probably only maybe 1 or 2 people left to talk about, frankly, on this team. He did trade a third for Quentin Johnston a few weeks ago. I did the Boscos for $4.95 situation where I was like, okay, I'm going to see if I can get anything for Quentin Johnston. I offered Alex a third, and he countered with a later third. And I was like, well, I just wanted to have a place to go, hoping to get a 4. He offered me a third, and we hit the accept button. So that's basically we got to have a place to go. And
the worst part about that deal is, and this is news to me, like I'm getting ready to go beat my wife. Like he negotiated with you and still settled on a fucking third. Are you fucking kidding me?
I thought for sure, Vince, that he was going to counter with a 4. I thought for sure. And that would have been, I would have absolutely accepted the 4. I'll be honest with you. I would have taken the 4. But he offered me the 28-3. And now we have a cat in the picture.
Crazy, bro. I need like an emotional support animal right now.
Just to clear some things up here for Quentin Johnston, he did improve. He was wide receiver 36 last year. Yeah. That all equated to them drafting 2 receivers that have looked solid to good, re-signing Keenan Allen, drafting a running back,
and having a run to Gadsden too.
This is just the classic. You're getting squeezed out, but you won on volume last year, and that's where we're at.
But just like, is that volume even going to be here in the same capacity?
That's what I'm saying. He's getting squeezed
I know you
out.
are.
Unless it's like touchdown situational dependent, like which is basically what it was last year. Like I don't think yardage wise, I think he had like 700 yards last year or something. Like I don't really even see that. Maybe the same. Maybe
I would be surprised by the end of the year if he's not just completely getting out snapped by both rookies.
No, I wouldn't. And between for my team, I was looking at 3 guys trying to move on from to get 1 guy basically out. It was going to either be Quentin Johnston, Wan'Dale Robinson, or Jalen Coker. And then with that, the Thielen rumors swirling, I was like, I really don't want to get rid of Coker. So I was kind of trying to move Quentin Johnston. I was talking to Scavelli. I talked to Dustin a little bit about him, but neither one of them really wanted to move. So move on a
What the fuck
4,
does
and then Alex
Dustin
give
need
me a 3.
another wide receiver for?
He doesn't, but that's why it didn't happen. Basically, is because he didn't. It's because he's like, I can't take on another guy.
Ooh,
Well-
piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, I would just say that Quentin Johnson, Trey Tucker, Savion Williams, and fucking Shamiri DK are basically all in the same tier to me. By the end of week 2, the DK could be 1,000 over Quentin Johnson. It wouldn't shock me, despite them being, the furthest apart in this. So I just think they're all just somewhat fodder that has maybe some short-term upside here on a week-to-week basis, but no one's trading really like individually for players like this without a lot changing for any of them, in my opinion.
No, I mean, there's very limited upside for most of the guys. Frankly, DK is the one that might interest me the most, just based on situation and target potential. But all right, so that's probably enough. It's the 10th ranked receiving room for a reason. I mean, this is not a good team. It's not a good receiving room. So let's go to a position group that actually has something to talk about. The tight end group here. We have Sam Laporta, Chigakonkwo, Elijah Arroyo, Mike Gesicki, Gunnar Helm. I like this room. I like the room. And this is like one of the few things I can say I like about this team. I think Laporta is just, like a bit of a tough evaluation at this point, because without Ben Johnson, he's kind of one of the guys like I'm most interested to see the usage. Like between him and Jamison Williams, I feel like those are going to be kind of an interesting watch this year. But how do you guys kind of feel about Laporta? Because I know he's kind of in that tight end 4 to 5-ish range in the redraft, community. I'm a little lower, I think, this year.
Who's getting to that price to trade for Laporta? Like, if you're getting up to that price, you're talking about like a premium asset, right? In return, like, and you're getting
a first,
and you're getting a
First plus maybe.
And like, who's doing that? So I just think he's a little mispriced here. It's probably too high. I think that's maybe them just like the onesie positions just getting a bump in their algorithm again.
And bag holders not wanting to let go of the value Laporta once
He
had.
was the tight end 1. Yeah.
You thought you had the tight end future 1, like the 1 forever. Now you're not even in discussion. Trey McBride and Bowers are both leaps ahead of him right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'd still take
it's 8,000 almost.
take Kittle over him in dynasty range too. So
Yeah.
I think really the value is in the
2 or 3
youth
good years
more
of
than
Kittle
anything.
than anything. Yeah. So that makes it tough. And all that to say, like, he's still obviously a quality player, and like he's just a locked in starter on 6 of the teams in our league, no doubt. Like,
yeah, like he's a 24-year-old good tight end who's shown you that he's good. So that's where I think like his value, yes, it's high, but like there aren't a whole lot of other guys at the tight end position that like make you feel like, oh, this is going to be a rock solid asset for the next 6 years. Like that's kind of where I think he's like a better version of like Hawkinson, like long term, or like Hawkinson, like he's kind of held his value for the most part for the last like 4 to 5 years. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, he's going to be like tight end 6. And like, I don't really have to worry about anything less than tight end 7 or 8. And that's kind of like where I fall with him right now. So like, I don't love it, but I definitely agree with you guys, especially this value seems too high, because I'm not paying a first. I'm not paying a mid first for Sam Laporta. I'm just not going to do it. So that makes it tough for a team like Alex too. Like this is another guy. Like I think at this point you just got to hold, unless somebody's willing to pay that 5,700 price. And I don't
hope he comes back. You hope he comes back in value. Maybe the new coordinator likes him a lot. Maybe he catches 12 touchdowns this year with a nice 1,000 yards to go with it. Then he's the locked and loaded 3 tight end. Maybe then we're talking next offseason about a big 3 in Bowers, McBride, and Laporta, and he's back in that conversation. That's the out Alex is looking for right now. That's what he needs and wants from a player like Laporta. Will he get it? I'm not so sure. I think that's a good segue, though, into Arroyo, who I think is a young upside player who we're trying to get to fit that mold of next great tight end.
And especially next great receiving tight end, because like
Specifically.
his upside to me is that of like an Evan Ingram. I've said it multiple times. Like I think he's kind of just like a bigger version of that. I love Arroyo. I know Sean's not as high on Arroyo. I mean, I'm a believer in the talent. He did show me a lot in the receiving game, and like for fantasy purposes, I just feel like I would rather take a shot on Arroyo than some of these other tight ends, maybe in a similar tier.
Totally
Especially the
agree.
rookie
And
tier.
his biggest knock is health, and bad health is something that I can almost deal with because you at least give me a free roster spot. So, give me this over the lingerer Kyle Pitts, who just stays and clogs your freaking roster week to week. Uh,
That sounds crazy to say now, and but it's like, if you asked said 2 years ago, yeah, I'd rather have Arroyo in the same tier as Kyle Pitts, I would have like shit my
I meant
brains
more
out.
the
But
type of player, but
yeah, but
like
it's just
Kyle Pitts
crazy.
was an asset that the day you drafted him, he used car your ass, and as soon as you drove him off the lot, he has decreased every second
Yeah, it's
since
like a
then.
boat. Yeah, you took the boat, you put it in the water one time, and now it's worth $5,000 less than you bought it
He
for.
had 1,000 yards as a rookie, and we still talked about the stench that was on him. But I don't want to get into that. The point is, I like Arroyo. I think he's a good player. He'll have a lot of boomer bust potential for Alex, and he's another player that by this time next year we could be talking about him being a top 6, 7, 8 dynasty tight end.
Sean, I know you differ in opinion here.
Arroyo is like the exact tight end that I'm always willing to be wrong on. Like I will happily eat crow when I'm wrong on these kind of guys, but like he just profiles to me as like another Gesicki, which ironically is also on this roster. Where like he's always gonna have to be the second tight end on the field. He's never gonna be like top 10 tight ends in like snaps played, which is like kind of tough. So you're gonna need him to be like high percentage targeted when he's on the field. And when you've got players like JSN on the field and elite players like Torrey Horton, pause.
Oh shit!
I forgot about that.
But no, it's just tough. Like you love for like your guy to be on the field, and like unless you're like a Bowers level of talent, like it's hard for a team to justify keeping that guy on the field for such a high percentage of plays. Now, they might run two tight ends a lot in Seattle this year with Arroyo on the field, and I could definitely believe that. It's just tough because like you really have to be like elite to really make that work from that type of player, and that's why I said I'm usually willing to be wrong. But we'll find out real quick. I really think like if he pops, like he'll pop quickly.
Yeah, and these second round picks at tight end, I mean, we've talked about it many times on the show. Like they are truly a lottery ticket. Like you have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
You could get Adam Shaheen or you could get, a Sam Laporta. You have no clue in the second round usually.
I will disagree. I don't think if he doesn't pop quickly, he's not successful. I think tight end takes a while to build. What I will say,
but he's not a tight end, really. He's a receiver.
Which
is why I'm saying they're not going to utilize him as a tight end. Really, he's going to play out of the slot when he has technical slot.
He's a joker tight end. He is literally just a bigger Evan Ingram. That's just the way I've been looking.
Evan Ingram popped right away in New York.
I think that tight ends sometimes take time. He was still a second, but he has knee injuries. He'll take some time to transition to the NFL. I think that a guy like Gunnar Helm, maybe a little undervalued. I still didn't like the
Gunnar
trade
Helm.
he made, but I still don't like how he acquired Gunnar Helm. But he's another guy that I think has upside. Like you really don't know. Like Cam Ward pops, maybe they get a connection. Maybe it's something that hits. So,
Eric, can you scroll down just a little bit on this page so I can
sure
see all
can.
the tight ends?
I mean, look at all these Titans. Look at all these Titan stacks.
I would feel pretty comfortable saying Arroyo finishes 5th in points out of that tight end room this year.
Wow.
If it were me, I think I would probably take Helm over him this year. And then
there's no way I can't.
I would probably really think about taking AJ Barner over him in points this year too.
That might have to be a Dynabook line.
Yeah. So anyway, back to my original point. He doesn't have to pop this year to still be a good asset. I still think tight ends take time to develop.
What about receivers? Do receivers take a while though?
Yeah, they do. Receivers also take years to develop.
They used to take 3 years. Like it used to be like back in the day, you had to wait.
Unironically, yes, they always did.
Like my favorite year 3 breakout of all time. It was years and years ago now. Sidney Rice. I just believed that it was going to take a while to work out, and it finally did when Brett Favre showed up that third year, and then he did nothing after that. But it's just like Nico Collins was a third-year guy. Like that used to be like the thing. It was like second and third-year breakout, but now everybody's just like, oh, if you're not 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns, rookie year, like if you're not Brian Thomas, if you're not Ladd McConkey, or like one of these guys that just pop like right away, it's like it's easy to lose patience in Dynasty nowadays, I feel like. So all right, so that's gonna wrap up this room. I think let's go to the draft picks. I feel like this is important to talk about. This year he has 0 premium draft picks. He has a 3rd round pick from the Plague, which should be higher. I guess an early 3, if you want to say that. He has my 4. He has Sean's 4, and I don't think either of those are going to be high. So those are later. And then just the regular old waiver draft picks. I mean, this team will not be getting a whole lot better this year based on the drafts. So that's the problem. One of the major problems with this team, at least for me.
Yep. It was a bad move. I mean, it was just bad moves on bad moves on bad moves. Obvious, go back and look at the meme archive. That's why we have it. Like, these were the most obvious, terrible decisions. Dog shit moves. Let's go all in on a third to last
Which
place
quarterback
roster.
is he taking with Dan's 3rd round pick in 2026?
Oh my God! If he takes another QB, that'd be
Cade
great.
Klubnik?
I know. I think he is, because he's gonna have traded Geno and Pat by then.
Garrett Nussmeier, 3rd round pick.
I mean, it makes sense because he doesn't run. That kind of adds up.
Oh yeah, he rose.
You love quarterbacks that don't run. Yeah, I mean, like like if he does do that, then yeah, he might have to take just value wise, that might make the most sense. But this team just can't, without having their own first. They're already going to suck ass. So you're basically gifting Dustin a top 2 pick basically at this point.
Yes,
and the team can't really improve until essentially 2027 in April. So you have a whole year and a half basically before this even remotely gets on the right direction. And
then we're only getting rookies, by the way.
And then they're just 50% shot rookies. That's where we're at. That's because that's what it is. That's the numbers. So, I mean, yes, he has his own 27 first, which should be, 1 or 2 at that point, which would in a great class. So great. But then, if you get Jeremiah Smith, awesome. But then you only have one other first, which is Scavelli's first, which could be a nice high pick. You don't know, but Scavelli just always finds a way to basically not be in that consideration. And then 2 seconds. And once again, we don't have the volume that Dustin has.
Say we hit on all of them. 4. Okay, we got 4 players. Okay, great. We need another 7 before we can be considered a middle of the pack team.
Yeah, and then you need depth. Everybody knows in this league you have to have depth.
That's what I meant by the depth.
Necessary.
Like, if he got 4 starters, we still need another 7 before I can be like, oh, you might be middle of the pack, because you have to have depth in this league.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough sled for multiple years at this point. I mean, remember we talked about Tibbs being in like a year 0? Are we in a -1 year? Is that what this is?
Yeah, I mean,
-2 years, earlier. Sean says.
Yeah, it might be.
I mean,
-2.
And the worst part is, by the time we get 3 years into this, he'll have gotten antsy again, and he'll make another slew of mistakes. Like, oh, I'm trading my 2034 pick, and that's going to be a great move. I'm going all in.
History would dictate that is a true statement.
I mean, we have the record, so yeah. All right. I mean, that's about as much as we can possibly talk about on this team, I think.
I really don't want to go any more than 48 minutes on this team.
No, that was already too much. That was less than all the other teams, but still too much. So that being said, we can look at exactly. We can at least look at maybe the trade tree before we keep moving on here. But realistically, I mean, so I actually was mentioning this prior to the podcast. This tree always confused me just by looking at it, but I think I figured it out. So the blue people are essentially the assets that he got in return. The white ones are the ones that he traded away in any trade. And then the red ones were rookie picks that he made with the picks that he acquired, essentially. So it's pretty easy to see by color. Like anything with a color essentially is stuff that he acquired, and anything with in white is stuff that he's dished out. So we've moved on from Ramondre, DeAndre Swift, Jacoby Myers, Puka Nacua, Jake Bates, T. Higgins, Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, Najee Harris, and Calvin Ridley. And what did we really get back is the question. Like we got back, like what's the top 5 assets that we got back for that? That's
it's literally the first from Scavelli and the second from me. Those are the only trades that are like
maybe
really
pick
close.
2-2. Like in terms of just like what do we get back of any value?
I know, but relative to what you gave up, I mean,
yes, okay,
like,
sure.
What department store could you not go to with Chuba Hubbard right now and say, "Sir, can I interest you in a Chuba Hubbard for 2-2?" Not to mention that you got also the handcuff locked and loaded, ready to go, like a Costco bundle with Rico Dowdle to get your
I mean,
handcuff
basically
too.
he was the 4 in that deal. Like I looked at Chuba is worth a 2 and Rico is worth a 4, and that's basically what it turned into.
I will say Najee, like that deal was okay, better for me at the time than it has now because Najee's eye was there.
Literally a pirate at this point.
Yeah. So like
he still does not do press conferences without his glasses on, which is crazy.
That trade's not good, but consider the grand scheme of things, like it's technically, I guess, on the better half. It's that bad in here, like you said.
I mean, Ramondre for Damian Martinez, Gunnar Helman, a 4. That feels pretty bad.
Basically 3 cuttable assets. Like fourths get cut all the time in this league, and Damian Martinez is a cuttable asset. He's cut IRL.
Yeah.
I had to come in here and sing Gunnar Hell's praises. Sean thinks it's gonna be better Arroyo. But there is also a universe where Gunnar Helm is cuttable.
It's just a big nothing. Yeah, it's possible.
There's a bunch of NAs, and it's just like, damn, he's not seeing the field. Bye.
I just think when you just like look at it as a whole, like all these players, like there's legitimately good names in here, and we just did not get back enough. It's like it's just the long and short of it. Like that's what it is. All right, I think that's enough time on Alex. Let's go now to league transactions, Sean. This is the trades that have been made essentially in August. So everything from we talked about Jefferson last podcast, so we can probably skip that one. But then everything essentially from August 15 to now, we should probably talk about because we haven't on this podcast yet. And there were some pretty reasonable trades in here too to talk about. So, yeah, go ahead and start with the first one.
Okay, yeah. So August 15th, that was in Chicago. I received Calvin Ridley. Eric received D-Hop, Darnell Mooney, and a 4th. Alex received Jordan Whittington and 2/3.
Yeah, awful. Just atrocious.
I don't know how he couldn't get more for Ridley. I don't know. Like, I feel like, I mean, that's just, to me, like, out of all the assets that moved around there, like, I think Ridley, where is he in redraft for you right now? Like, what, the 9th
top 7-round pick?
It's
top 7-round pick, depending on the league size.
We should probably wait for my hot takes before we talk about that.
Okay, we can.
I bet it's a good thing about Calvin Ridley. I bet it's a positive. I bet it's not
very,
bad.
Very, very much so. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, I can't. Like, this is a guy that I'm not even sure. Like, because I wasn't really in on Calvin Ridley, so I can't speak to this. But was Alex talking to anybody else about Calvin Ridley, or is this another case of we just kind of took whatever the first offer was?
I mean, I was poking around him and Jacoby Myers like most of the offseason. Just kind of sending offers every once in a while.
I know Scavelli was interested.
Even if there's no other offers, you're telling me that you don't receive an offer like this and say, maybe I should see what else I could get. Like, this is atrocious. It's a terrible deal. There's no defending it. It's just another dereliction of duty from Alex.
And then moving on to the next deal, that was just like a stupid deal.
Absolutely disrespectful to DeAndre Hopkins trading him for a kicker.
It does feel bad, but he's a good kicker. He's a good kicker.
On the surface, it's just so disrespectful.
It's a bad. The funny thing is, I acquired D-Hop as a legacy move, just for the legacy move, and then, but then I could get a top 10 kicker. I was like, all right, I'll do that. I think Dessert Dealer was involved in this trade. The ice cream was involved in this deal.
That's true. I forgot about the ice cream.
I mean, that's a. Puzzle.
The proof here on the pod, I think we are going to have to get legal services in to see if there is inclusion in some of these deals because they're just too good to be true. They're just too good to be true.
Sweet.
Literally too sweet.
The VP of League Services already put in that, the future will be looked at very closely. And I think it needs to be because this is affecting the integrity of the league with how bad he's been for the last 5 years.
I do need to make at some point a PSA to legal services, in particular for this season. So I could just do it now. If
Yeah,
you're
do it. Let's let it rip.
I have real concerns over these two matchups between Alex and Dan this season, and I would like us as a collective and the rest of the league to monitor those two matchups very closely for any unsavory start-sit decisions.
That's a
In those two
really
games.
I mean, it's
salient
totally
point,
valid.
Sean. Do you know what weeks those are off the cuff by chance?
I
Week
do not,
4,
but it's
maybe?
going to be one of the first 4 weeks of the season because they play each other twice.
They do
So,
play each other twice.
in particular, when we were talking about Mahomes and the fact that he could win you a week and him maybe magically finding the bench one of those 2 weeks, stuff like that. I'm going to be, I just as somebody that came back into the league on a rebuilding team, I never once put out a team that I thought was not my best chance of putting up points. So I would expect that from everybody else in the league.
Those
too.
are
I
4 and 13, by the way. Those
4
weeks,
and
if we
13.
want
Perfect.
to earmark those. But yeah,
Hey,
that'll definitely be something that's looked at. In addition to if any other tankers join the fray. I believe that Eric wasn't supposed to be a top 2 pick last year.
no. What are you saying? I tanked then?
No, definitely
It's
not.
like, I mean, like,
No,
hey,
no,
I'm
no,
looking.
no, no. I'm saying somebody else could emerge, and that may make the matchup important too. There might be more, is what I'm saying. Like,
Right.
Sure.
these aren't the only.
Hey, listen, like if the VP of Legal Services wants to do any inquiries on any of the trades that have been made, anything, we're open to anything here at the league, obviously. So, just whatever needs to happen happens. But I mean, if there's more to the story here, Vince, let me know.
I think this iteration of the Muskrats is as dead as Texas roadkill. Like, this is Michigan roadkill. These Muskrats, and I think that it's more about the future and making smart decisions going forward, and not doing this again.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's gotten to the point where, like, especially after talking about it here on just like seeing the assets, like on this trade tree, even just looking at what's on the in stack of paperwork and what's on the out stack of paperwork, like I just don't think if Alex is actually talking about like he's not watching football, which is what he's telling us. I think at least we need to consider maybe like taking a look into the trades and just starting to even consider vetoing trades. I mean, like I'm not even totally opposed to that at this point, because if the league truly believes that, this is not in the best, the best interest of the league as a whole, a competitive standpoint, like I'm open to that too. So
Well, I
it's
think
just,
you could
I don't
compare
want to
them
do that, but
to. I don't want to get into deep philosophy on this because I'm not making that accusal on Alex at all yet. But I think the better way to put it is like compare him to how like Dustin and Sean made trades. Like Sean just got back-to-back titles off of that. Yet
Mhm.
nobody is sitting here and saying collusion or this or that because they were all pretty fair deals. I would even say Sean got fucking raped on one of them and in the Kareem Hunt deal, but he still recovered through other means and things and found a way to become a 2-time champ from it. So nobody's sitting here and saying, Dustin, you hurt the integrity of the league with your trades, because Dustin made out pretty fucking well with each of them and is now looking like a future dynasty himself. And it kind of just felt like two ships in the wind at night passing each other. Oh, you're going that way? I'm going that way. Okay, let's help each other. Whereas Alex's trades felt like, what is he doing? What is he doing? That trade's 5 minutes old and it's already obsolete and trade aged poorly. Those didn't really happen with Dustin and Sean trades.
And
that's a good point.
one of the things that kind of cued me into like maybe being a little concerned about that is like when I make a trade offer to somebody that's in a rebuilding mode and I'm offering them like a player back or something like that, and their response is, I think they're going to score too many points for me if I trade for them this season. I'm like, what?
I'm going to score they're going to score too many points for me.
I'm like,
That's
I
and
don't
that's
like
where
that
maybe we can get the
because
legal
it's-
services involved there. Like that's crazy to me. I mean, I don't know. So, anywho,
Not
I
naming
mean,
names, I'm
good
just saying that
discussion.
I
But
have gotten that response from another team in this league, for better or worse. Like that was a response that I got. So I just want to keep that like just top of mind. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, obviously, because nothing has happened yet. But I just want everybody like, let's keep it ethical, and
it's good for the
we're
league.
trying to do the best with what we've got on each roster.
Yeah, and if there are concerns of any kind, make it known, and we'll deal with it as a league as a whole. But yeah, I mean, I think
Or like the
it's good
Josh
discussion to
Allen
have.
trade, another example of like, a trade that's so obvious, like, wow, 2 firsts in a 1 quarterback league for a quarterback. Oh, this makes sense. You're on your way out, and that's the only thing he needs that's holding him back. So
Mhm.
like it just matches up in the context, whereas like some of these other trades have just not made sense in any context whatsoever at all. Like call it bad process, not getting enough value, falling for the hype of a player and getting too caught up in it and making the move. Whatever it is, it's amounted to basically a team that's not been able to compete for 5 years and shouldn't be able to compete for the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's too long of a time in this league. Like even if you try to rebuild and you're basically following kind of there is a blueprint, frankly, at this point. It's not like it hasn't been done. There's been multiple teams now that have, kind of done the sell off all the assets and, try to rebuild from the draft and, get some good younger guys and just kind of recycle. And almost every one of those teams have kind of found their way back at this point, whether it be, even James is kind of starting in that direction already. But like myself, Tibbs, the Elk, like it's kind of, there is a blueprint. So it's like, why are we going so far away from the blueprint is kind of the
I mean,
question
you
I
were
guess
some
I
of the
have.
first teams that traded with him when he decided his team that won 5 games was ready to go all in. And you guys said, "Oh, okay, I guess you'll give me all that for this player. Good luck." And here you are now, buoyed because of that. You
No,
know,
there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
the not you specifically, you know what I mean, the pejorative you, but um, yeah, I think it's just more about the future. I like the T Higgins trade. I think that's a good trade. I
Yeah,
think
that
that's
one
exactly the
looks
type
good
of
on
trade
paper.
I'm talking about, as like that Josh Allen trade I alluded to earlier, or like Dan's Jefferson trade. Like I think the T Higgins trade was great. I think that's top
What
value for a
about
player like him.
what about the trade for Ramondre Stevenson for Damian Martinez, Gunnar Helm, and a
Yeah,
2026
I don't
fourth
think it's
round pick?
great. I don't think it's
That,
Because
great.
that does
that's the
not
next
that
one
does
on the
not work.
list.
That does not
Yeah,
work. I was
I
gonna
don't think
say
it's
the
great.
only one really worth talking about is the Vince trade, is Swift and Myers for a 27 second Savion Williams, Arroyo, and Trey Tucker. Like that one seems pretty good.
Yeah, that
Like
one works
solid.
for me. I
It's
don't have any
maybe not
problems with that.
ideal, but
It's
it's fine.
expiring assets for him, and I gave him the draft he wants, 2027. So uh, I think it made sense. Arroyo's again another ascending asset. Savion is just a the most random of dart throws. Trey Tucker, it just kind of makes sense because it's Raider for Raider.
I mean, it's just throw-ins basically. Those guys. To me, the trade was just Swift and a second or I'm sorry, Swift and Myers for a second and a Royal. And to me, that's a 2 and a
Yes.
3 of value, and that's probably really what it is.
Mhm.
So I
Works
think
for
that's fine
me.
too.
Once you add context too of like, well, what are you gonna do with those players right now? You're gonna look for picks. Here you go.
I think the most interesting trade we've got, Sean, Evan McPherson from Malik Washington.
Yeah, we
What do
don't.
you think
Today.
about that?
I'm gonna. Yeah, I think we just kind of cede the floor to the the manager here. The mid-trade.
Trading, I love trades like this. Like as much as we could talk about these other crazy deals, like these are my favorites. They're always my favorite every single time. 1-for-1 random Jagaloon trades are what keep the league interesting year to year. It's just incredible. I love
I
it.
don't want to Adam Schefter you, but that trade has a lot of backstory.
Oh,
That
here
same
we
trade was
go.
sent. That same trade was sent last week to Scavelli, and he said no. He said no. He said it wasn't good enough.
And
Told me
then
he needed to exchange some 4th round picks around. I said, Scavelli, I love you, bud, but in a kicker trade, I'm not fucking moving picks around. I don't know how else to tell you. Like, I'm not doing it.
he
It's
tried to
just
trade me Evan McPherson at some point during Chicago. I was like,
y-
it's like I
I've been
got
out of the kicker game a while. I'm like a divorced dad. I've been dating Justin Tucker for so long. That sounded terrible because he did things to those women. But the point is, I had Justin Tucker for so long, so I've been out of the kicker game for a decade plus. So it's like, I don't know. Don't take advantage of me. I can't be trading. Can't be exchanging fourths. So
Yeah, trading any pick for a kicker does not feel good.
yeah, so we
Like I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
exchanging. I was giving him a fourth, he was giving me a fourth. But it was just it's a kicker. I don't want to get so complicated. And so we just left it there for like a solid like week plus. Then we came back today, and he said, Vince, I think that's the right move. And I said, you know what? I think you're right, Scavelli. I think it's the right move for both of us.
I do love the
Sealed and
hustle,
ready.
though. I do love the hustle. Trying to move a pick for a kicker is crazy. Anything else notable, Sean?
No,
Okay, I was gonna say probably not. So
no.
at this point, I think this is a good way to transition into just the league as a whole. Maybe what we see the playoff teams, what teams are gonna kind of be the ones that miss out. So I guess maybe to make it simple, maybe let's start with Vince. Give me the 4 teams that do not make the playoffs in your
I-
eyes.
I'll give them to you. Not only will I give them to you, I'll give them to you in order.
Even
So
better.
the first pick next year will be Dustin through Alex.
Okay.
The second pick will be Dan and the Plague. The third pick will be our good friend James Sifu, not through lack of trying. He's got an up and coming team. And the fourth team, the odd man out, unfortunately, I believe will be the Bombers.
Oh no, again.
I will leave wiggle room that there is a universe where the Lambs do the same thing they did this year. And just like with you, how you had a better record or better points but a worse record, like that could end up happening to him with Justin. Like I could see that happening where Justin sneaks into 3 and James gets 4. But I think that's the top 4. Um, is it locked? No, I could see Justin sneaking in. Justin has one of the deadliest stacks there is. His running back core leaves a little bit to be desired, and I don't know if there's enough depth to mask the lack of running back room. So I think that's why he becomes the odd man out.
I think that's a pretty good argument. Sean, do you see it the same way, or do you see somebody maybe different in that
It's
that
definitely the
7th spot?
it's definitely a leaning. I mean, we say this every year, and then the games start and shit happens. But yeah, I would agree for the most part. Yeah,
I guess how do you?
I would probably switch the picks. I think Dan will end up with the first pick because I think Mahomes will end up screwing him and winning him a week that he
Ooh.
shouldn't.
And that's where the tank stuff comes into play. We got to really pay attention to those tank bulls because if he's not starting Mahomes, then I don't know what to say. Uh, I think the only team that's especially if I mean we say this every year when we look at the KTC values and stuff. How strongly do we feel about the Scavelli battle axes? Do we? I mean, they have them at 7 obviously here, but do we think that this is a legitimate contending team, or is this team kind of just ho humming its way into that 5 and 6 seed and then getting an early exit?
No, I think it's legitimate. I think it's just a team that has to get hot and get hot at the right time. I think you have the back. He has the backs to do it. I think he got enough at other positions. He has a top tight end in Kittle. He has top wide quarterback. He just has to really fill up that wide receiver room because he does have enough at running back. I like Tony Pollard. Um, some of the other backs he has. So I think he has enough. He has to go on a run. I'm a big fan of the chip in the chair mentality. Scully won a championship with that 3 years ago in this league. Get into the playoffs, have a relevant core, and get hot. He has the core to do it. Uh, I think he just. I think he's closer to a 3 seed than a 6 seed, but I think that 3 through 6 is very fluid.
Yeah, to me it seems like a really just a real crapshoot. Anything from 3 to 6 for the most part. So that kind of leads me to my next question. Maybe we'll start with Sean this time. Give me your top 4 at the end of the regular season. What do the top 4 standings look like? It's a tough question, but I mean, your
Uh,
best chance or your best shot.
in a particular order or just no particular order?
Okay, say the bye teams maybe. You don't have to go 1 or 2, but the bye teams and the non-bye teams, I guess, in terms of bye
Okay,
weeks and that.
I'll give the bye weeks to you and Tibbs, and
Yeah.
then I would say the next 2 teams are going to be myself and either the Battle Axes or the Lionheads. But
Okay.
I would say that that's probably tight. Going back to Scavelli's team, he could also just miss the playoffs. His team is old, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
and
disaster could
oh,
happen. He has a low
the
floor.
variant he's got the biggest variance in the league. He
I
could
agree.
be anywhere between 2 and 7 to me, and I wouldn't really shock me.
I feel pretty strongly about the top 5 teams that we see here on screen. I feel like any of those top 5 teams, and I hate to exclude the Bombers, but I'm at the point where I'm kind of just need to see it from the Bombers. based on the running back room and whatnot. But I do feel pretty strongly about any of those 5 teams having a really great shot at winning the championship. That's the way I've been looking at it, at least for the last couple of weeks after all these trades have been made and kind of things have settled out. So I think that 6th spot is definitely a battle between, no pun intended, with the Battle Axes and Bombers. But I truly believe those top 5 teams all have a really good shot this year. But I would probably give myself one of the buys based on some of the recent trades I've made. And then I think Cheese Fries have kind of earned that 2nd spot, and I need to see it from the Elk, and I'll put them at 3.
Yeah, I'm still lock and loading Tibbs' team at number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that's number 1, and I gotta give one of the buys to Sean. He just won back-to-back ships. Like
Yeah.
I can't fucking. He didn't like tear it down. Did he make some
Nope.
moves that I consider side to downgrades in the short term, like R.J. Harvey, Kyron type stuff? Like, yeah, Kyron's gonna score more fucking points this year unless injuries and stuff happen. But I get it. It's a move
Agreed.
for a more sustainable future. So. But that being said, like Sean still has shooters. Sean still has upside players. Sean still has guys that like Tyreek. He just won, repeated with Tyreek Hill not being the 1,700 plus yard player he was the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Now what happens if Tyreek Hill comes back and is a 1,700 yard player? Like that can cover a lot of deficits that Sean just had. So because he won 2 championships, like I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I have to give him a bye week. Tibbs covered up the only hole that I was judging him for at quarterback. I have to give him the other bye week. Eric, I think you're the strong 3rd. I think you're closer probably to them than to the next highest team, because I think that fourth team, is it me? Is it the Elk? Is it the Battle Axe? I think there's an argument to be made for all of us, and because of that, I think that makes you the very clear 3rd team, because I think, like I said, I think you're closer to the bye than to us at 4th. So it's just a matter of like that top 3 is like
Just
it's
how
really
does it wiggle
close.
out? Yeah. And like
Yeah,
I'll say this to close out Sean's kind of talking about Sean's team. I'm just like a huge Drake London believer this year. I think he has a chance to take that next step into that truly elite category. So if you get, obviously the wild card and Hill, if he can get somewhat back to what he was, last year or 2 years ago, you get an ascending Drake London and Amon-Ra. To me, like that could absolutely be a bye week team, if not the number 1 team, if everything kind of clicks right. So
the other thing too is this also doesn't take into account like schedule. James
no.
and I've talked about this a little bit. So like for example, like I think you have a stronger team than me on paper, but I play Alex twice. Oh no, never mind. You actually play Dan twice instead to mix it. So
Do you guys want to
it's
pick the
pretty close.
games? You want to just pick them?
Not
All of them?
everything, or just week 1, you mean?
We're going to talk about week 1 anyway, so we could at least do week 1.
Yeah, definitely want to do. I don't know if we're gonna go through the whole season, but we could.
We've done it before on this podcast.
No,
So
we're already at an hour. We got a
Let's just do week
responsibility.
1.
yeah, we could do
Yeah.
1. All right, so
No,
let me pull
can I just real quick,
Sure.
because you were talking about Dustin as in, because I didn't mention him with Vince and Scavelli's team in particular for one reason is I think the thing that's going to hold him back is going to be any elite upside at the quarterback position. He's got quality quarterbacks, but I don't think any of either of those guys are going to be like week winners at any point this season. And his team, like that's the thing that I think keeps him from like that next tier up compared to the other teams.
I hear you, and I think there's still some minor depth issues here and there, but I think Dustin's tired of sitting on his hands. I think he's coming for it. I think he's back to like, hey, I might not be the top team this year, but I'm getting in the mix. So I think Dustin will be a playoff team this year. I think he
I
will
think
fight
he's a
for it and
playoff
get it.
team. I just don't think he's in like that 3-4 team tier because Eric had said like he was in there.
No, I said it. I said
you
I put him
said-
at that like 4-5 line with myself and Scavelli. Like, but I stand by that. I could see myself having a couple injuries here and there. He has more assets to repair holes if he wants.
Very
If
true.
Justin decides that he's out and he's like, "Fuck, I missed out on Jefferson," but Chase sounds pretty good. Like he can snap his fingers and three first round picks are gone. Jamar Chase is here. I can't fucking do that. No one else can do that, really. Like Eric just did it. He can't do it again. No,
Nope.
obviously that's
No,
amazing that you were able to do it
Birds are
once.
bears. They got nothing anymore.
Yeah, even Tibbs, like he just did that with Josh Allen. Like a lot of people have made their moves. Dustin made a move. He got Kyron. He can make 3 more moves of that caliber and still have a cupboard with decent assets in it. So I'm not writing Dustin off at all. If anything, we said Scavelli has the highest range of outcomes. I'd say the next highest is probably Dustin, because I think there is a universe where Dustin maybe says, "This isn't my year. If my team's falling apart because of injury, just let it. I'll be back next year with even more picks and assets." But
Yeah,
They
go ahead.
never stop.
no, I was just saying, but he also I think has a lot of upside too. So I like Dustin's situation obviously a ton.
And this is a little bit of foreshadowing into the hot take part of the episode, but I think at some point with Dustin's team, we obviously know how many assets he has, how many quality players he has at this point. It does get to a point where you have so many assets, and it's like hard to pick one to start. Like when we have so many, like kind of wide receiver 3s and wide receiver 2s, even to that extent, and flex plays, and we just don't really know who to start. And then you end up picking the wrong one, and it costs you a game or two. And it's like at some point, the consolidation of assets kind of has to happen. Otherwise, you're going to be kind of doing this week to week dance trying to figure out what to do. And that maybe gets frustrating at some point. And you're just like, I don't know who to start between, I don't know, Chris Olave and some other 4 or 5 other guys. Like it just kind of gets old probably.
I mean, I think you're speaking borderline from experience. Not trying to accuse you on air here, but I think you've
No,
probably had that.
It's true. I mean, I had it happen a couple of years ago when I traded for Tyler Boyd, and I didn't know who to start between him and George Pickens, and it cost me a championship. So it's like
that was
literally.
Exactly what I was going to bring up.
And trust me, I think about that all the time when I think about consolidating assets, and that was exactly the reason I traded for Justin Jefferson, because like I don't want to deal with that shit. So it's like I would rather. I have the assets now. I have a decent amount of depth. I can afford to move on from a couple of things here, and let's just try to get better. And once again, top end talent wins this league, but you do need some depth. Like you don't need to have a zillion depth pieces, but when it comes down to like deciding who's flexes and wide receiver 3s, and even like guys like Jalen Warren in the flex and stuff like that, that can kind of get challenging. Like that does affect your week to week game.
Agreed. I mean, I traded for Bijan partly because I felt like I was failing my flex roulette and needed to do a better job of consolidating. Instead of drafting more wide receivers, I need to get a running back to build out my core, someone I can build the room around. And, Dustin did that multiple times. He got Genty, he got Kyron. I think they're 2 really good players. It's going to be a good team.
Yeah, it's a good looking team. All right, so let's go to the week 1 matchups. I just want to say I'm so excited to actually be talking about actual dynasty games. Like this is
2 days away. This isn't like, we finished our draft, now the schedule's out, let's talk about it. No, this is real football this week.
No, we are here, and like that's a great point, because like it feels like for all off season, it's like we're months away, we're weeks away. It's like no, it's literally like right here. So
it's 2 days of my life.
I know it's good. I just today at work was just like, oh my god, like can we just get to Thursday? Like I just want to watch football.
I dragged Bill Belichick all morning, but after that, I ran out of things to do.
And that's even like this whole weekend with college football. I was like, this isn't the NFL. I just want to see NFL. He's like I like it. It's fun and all, but like I just want to see NFL.
Delicious little taste. I liked it. I had a nice little bite, but I know I want the main course.
Yeah, and that appetizer was like watching Caleb Downs and Arch Manning and those like all the NFL talent in that one game, and then it was like a shitty game, and I was like, oh man, I just want the NFL at this point. So,
bro, I was in church for a wedding, and my mom's like, put that away. I'm like, it's almost halftime. I have to finish the drive. Like he looked awful.
It's like there's 7 draft picks on the field right now. I need to watch this. It was
week 1. Who do you want to start with?
Yeah, week 1. We can just start with me at the top, because this is hard because we don't have a Dustin lineup.
That's a good team. No, start with an easier one. Alex versus Justin. Okay. Oh no, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Ken Walker solo Alex. The game's over. Okay, next. No. Actually, let's get some real hard hitting. You didn't come here for bullshit. You came here for hard hitting PHU analysis. This is the game the Bombers usually lose. Let's call a spade a spade. This is how the old school Bombers.
We can skip my and Dan's game.
The Bombers start their season sometimes with a unenthusiastic loss. So if the Bombers came out, maybe had a flat game, maybe Cleveland comes to play, or maybe it's raining and the weather's bad. I don't know. I could see Justin maybe losing a 88, 90 grinder.
That would be a freaking heartbreaker. I mean, this could be like the catalyst that just derails the whole season, and then we end up talking about Jamar Chase getting traded or some crazy shit like what you were saying earlier. Like it's not out of the question. Like the problem, look at this projection at 116. That feels pretty low considering we got these huge names in here. Like I don't like what's
I was
the
ready to
bad
seal my
projection?
bullshit, and I clicked it just to click it. I was like, "Oh no, Justin did set his lineup. This is the projection." Oh
Like
no!
like Jaden Reed for 5. That's
Playing with the Jones fracture, by the way.
yeah. I mean Hawkinson for 6.
That's low. That's too low.
Charbonnet for 9. That kind of seems high.
Hold on. The Seattle backfield for 20, just in general against San Francisco, is like, I don't know.
That's fine with me.
I mean, that doesn't seem terrible, especially if it's a raining game.
You're starting 2 players though.
Yeah, I mean, you're
have starting both to get that.
And if it ends up becoming like a 49ers lead and they're not running the ball as much.
I mean, a Sam Darnold rushing touchdown would just be awful.
That's worst case. Like a George Halani touchdown or something.
Football's crazy. We know things like that happen. So let's not rule it out. Like I don't want to, we shit on Alex enough. He's more than likely losing this game. Justin, the 86% to 14%. Yeah, I think that's about accurate. I think it's a very fair projection. But that 14% is there. And
is there anybody that you would start on Justin's bench over somebody that's currently in the starting roster? I'm kind of looking at like a Hollywood Brown.
Do you want the spiciest of spice? Hey, you want
this
the
is what we're
you want the
here
hot
for.
takes? You want the hot takes? You came for that? It's Deonta Thornton. If I'm Justin and I want to get spicy, maybe in one of these weeks, I think that's the guy I'm going to. While I don't have Jennings, if Juwan Jennings isn't playing, like, am I really going to start Kyle Pitts? Fuck no, I don't hate myself that much yet. Like, Besh hasn't been as good. Fuck it, give me the 6'5" guy. Let's roll.
I mean, I feel like you could flip a coin for me with Hollywood Brown and Dante Thornton. I'm like I don't feel that bad. Like
I'm going Hollywood Brown on that one.
I just don't trust Hollywood Brown at all.
Or the rookie running backs.
I mean, you could talk yourself into a Scatabo or a Woody Marks.
Yes.
Potentially. But this is going to sound gross.
This is what we're here for. We want the crazy shit.
Get into the nitty gritty.
Do we want to talk about Kyle Pitts?
No, I just said I'm not starting 2 Kyle Pittses. No, we're not doing that. I'll eat crow on Monday.
Mooney missed almost the entire training camp. I would imagine, like, he's gonna get targets in that game. He loves playing the Bucks.
I'm taking out Jaden Reed if we're taking out anybody. Okay, so let's
for the injury.
Yes, so let's say that. Okay. And if I'm taking him out, I really want Juwan Jennings to play. I really want Juwan Jennings to play, and I'm just going both Pearsall, Juwan Jennings. Let's just fucking the Seahawks Jennings get up early from running the ball, and then the Niners have to throw the ball. That's Justin's narrative for Sunday, and he's sticking to it.
I love it. I just want to quickly mention the battle of the ETNs. That's a hilarious battle.
Are they both in the one spot? I really like that.
They are both.
That's great.
I love how Alex he says, "Fuck Dameon Pierce. You haven't earned that one spot. We're giving it to Trevor Etienne." I hate that shit. I'm a big depth chart guy. My team might as well be on our lads for.
Do you guys think he thinks it's Travis?
It's not completely out of the question if he doesn't watch football, like he's saying. All right, let's go to the next game. That was a lot of time.
Yeah, that was good though. We talked.
Let's go to a more interesting matchup. How about Battle Axes Lionheads? Let's take a look at this. We got projection.
This is easily the game of the
133. I think it's this one and potentially my game against the Elk. I think those are probably the 2 best matchups this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are the 2 best as well.
So let's take a look at this one. The projection's only about 10-ish points off.
Well, Smelly still has to put in 2.5 people, 2 flexes plus a wide receiver.
Let's not bury the lead. Just look at these starting running backs going against each other.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's a work of art.
This is pod racing.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. I've looked at it for 14 minutes.
Yeah, that's how you draw it up right there.
I mean, that's great. I mean, we have an influx of youth. We have top end talent. We have great veteran players. Like this is by far. Like, I mean, this is probably out of the whole year, probably the best running back matchup you're going to see. So this is going to carry the matchup as a whole.
It's going to be one of them. It's not out of the question. These 4 players outscore the Muskrats.
That would be a great dynamo.
I expect it.
I think I would definitely bet on that at this point. I think if they each go for like 15 to 20, I think it's definitely in the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Let's go to the more interesting slots here. I think everybody knows these guys are studs, but the receiver slots for both of these teams, I would venture to say that each one of them is a bit of a question mark for each team heading into the season. There have been some recent moves, and obviously getting McLaurin back for you, Vince, is a huge boost because I was a little concerned. Do you have any concern, because this is the first time we're talking to you, about like the missed time of camp? Is he going to kind of be ready to rock?
I don't. Little Lionheads wide receiver state of the union here, but I think Terry's going to be good to go. I think that Terry's a professional. He's not a Tyreek Hill type where I'm worried about him doing something
Good
like
kid.
that. Like,
Mhm.
yes, I think he's been working out. I think he's been doing that. It's a hold in as well, so he's been at the facility. I would think that if they saw him looking like a fat James Harden, they'd be like, I'm not so sure we want to give him, the money like that. I think it would maybe the holdout would have still happened. And my final point for Terry would be that I don't think that the Commanders have enough warm bodies on offense to say, no, Terry, 5 targets, that's all you're getting, man. That's all we could do. Like, I just don't see enough talent that Terry can't. He has to get 10 targets a week, right? Weekly? I feel like that
He's
has
got
to
to
be
be
it.
in the realm of 7 minimum every week. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
really.
game script. I
Yeah.
get it. If you get an early lead because of some stuff, like, hey, we don't need to air it out. But I expect like 7+ designed plays with a couple where maybe it's broken and has to go for him, or he's the second option in a design play for someone else. But I think Terry's the man. I think he'll be wide receiver, 4 or 5, whatever greatness he was last year. That is a lofty. He's 5. Yeah, I'm not so sure. I think he'll be wide receiver 1. 5's tough, but I think he's locked and loaded. I really like Zay. I really like Matt Golden too, to be
I'm
guys that
very
get a
interested
lot
in
of
Golden.
targets.
Yeah, I think Golden
Golden's
is the
gonna be
guy
good.
that's like with all the other crap happening with Jaden Reed now with the injuries, they don't really have a reliable other guy because Wicks can't catch and Dobbs is kind of just a guy.
I
Like
don't.
I think Golden has a real
I-
shot to be a huge hit.
Golden's the only one in that receiver room that can catch. I
Yeah,
mean,
frankly, like Dobbs is like he can catch, but he's not. He's
I
Dobbs. Like he's it's
almost
just like
linked this to you, Eric, but I wanted to wait for the podcast to tell you to your face live so I could see your reaction. Matt Golden changed his number from the 20s to 0. So there
I
is
mean
hope.
it's a
There
tremendous
is
win.
hope.
The only other receiver that I can remember recent years that had a number in the 20s. Can you remember this guy? He's a huge bust for
No.
the cheese fries.
I know
Is it Sky
AFC
Moore?
is Sky Moore.
25, right?
24,
24.
I
Oh,
think.
24.
24. Okay.
All
Well,
that to
yeah,
say is it's disgusting.
awful.
Hey,
Like
shout out,
0 is a baller number
shout
too.
out Rashid Shaheed, 22.
Oh, there's another one. Okay, there's a good
He
one.
was good too before he
I
got
like
hurt.
him.
I'm rooting for him actually. I don't have him in any stocks, but I'm rooting for him.
There to me, like it's sacrilege to be a receiver in the 20s. It does not work. I just immediately
It's
think you're a
offensive.
running back that's flexed out into the slot. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So going to 0, I think that takes if he was wide receiver 26 for my redraft rankings, he's up 4 spots just based on number. Like it's a huge deal to me. Anywho,
But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time. So those are the guys I'm starting this week. I like Christian Kirk, Jacoby Myers this year, Cooper Kupp. I think I have enough, but like we kind of said, like my assets are consolidated. If holes pop up, I can make trades if I need to. But this is what I'm running with right now. Like I said, I got my running backs. I think the battles of the flexes are a little more interesting. I think
yeah, I was
Scavelli's
gonna
going to
say
have the best one with Bucky, but I got some shooters still.
I think top end wise, I like the idea of your flexes better just because Bucky is the best of the flexes, but I also like some of the shooters that you got, like you mentioned. I think what's interesting is it's a bit of a mirror match to start, like outside of quarterback. I definitely like Daniels more than Murray personally, but Murray has a tremendous matchup against the Saints. So like that kind of helps the cause. But then you look down the list a little bit more, like receivers are a bit mirror-y-ish. Cooper, I'm not super high on right
He's
now.
not going to start
I think
Cooper,
we're
but the guy he's
assuming
replacing him with ain't much
Diggs
better.
I would assume Diggs is going to be their wide receiver.
Okay, so yeah, so we
Yes, I agree.
put Diggs in there, and then it kind of is a mirror at that point. Kittle and McBride are, right
Mirror.
there, 1 and 2 probably mirror, and then really it comes down to the flexes. If you kind of look at the options here, and I'm not sure. I guess Sean, if you're looking at it more closely,
I mean, you
who
got Aaron Jones and Tony Pollard most
That's who it's
likely.
going to be, I believe. Yes. So it's going to be
and
six.
I like
It's going
all.
to be a true 5v5 running backs. Who doesn't like a 5v5 running backs to start the year where every running back's projected 10 or more? That is how you draw it the fuck up.
It's the foundation of the league is a zillion running backs.
Yes.
It's what everybody wants is to have 7 startable running backs.
Get me
That's
going. How
it's
much
beautiful.
Benadryl do I have to take tonight to sleep until kickoff on Thursday?
We
That is what
also
I'm
have
asking myself.
a huge defensive matchup this week. We have
Playing each other.
playing each other, which is just and 2 shitty offenses. So
Well,
it's gonna be great.
Scavelli's got 3 other defenses to choose from, so let's not get carried away.
Scully, don't ruin
I'm
this for
surprised he had
us.
7. I thought he had 7 other defenses.
Don't ruin this for us. He's picking up the Saints. He's
Didn't he
going
trade
to
a
spot start him.
defense? Or
I
cut
think
one?
didn't he move a defense recently, or maybe cut Saints defense or something? I don't remember.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, that one I can't blame. All right, who's your pick, Sean?
Yeah.
This is a tough one.
I'm gonna go with the QB difference for me. I'm gonna go with the Battle Axes week 1.
I'm going to go Battle Axes too. Eric, who do you have?
I was gonna lean Battle Axes mostly for the flex running backs. That was kind of my choice there.
So I think that I am picking Battle Axes, but I will call my shot that I will beat him in the next matchup. I believe we play in week 10.
So you think you're gonna split basically?
Yes, and I
Okay.
will say based
These
on
old
like
players a lesson.
like this is when Scully's team's at its hottest. The beginning of the year, there's no injuries, there's no bye weeks. These old guys are feeling great. I think this is the best iteration of Scully's team. I do think, like I said earlier, it can still get hot in the playoffs, but I do think that it'll be easier to maybe steal one than now. So I do think that the sleeper projection I think is going to come out to something like 65-35, 60-40. And I would say that's where I would probably put this at for this right now, week 1. But that could all change, pretty quickly on Friday night if Isaiah Pacheco has, 2 touchdowns and 80 yards.
Yeah, I think that Pacheco, honestly, those first 2 games there's a lot of fantasy implications in general, so that'll be fun for all
for
the
both
teams
sides. So
involved.
obviously Barkley.
Survive Saquon is
Can you get like
Part one,
how many yards does
survive
Saquon do go against that Cowboys defense?
I think he might get a hat trick. Like I'm gonna look into seeing if I put on Hard Rock Bet, like the player prop, like if I see 3 touchdowns, like is that like what plus 1,500? Like I may put $5 on that. Why not?
I mean, I thought about like 150 rushing yards or over.
I mean, I've got a Hurts first touchdown of the game bet out there already.
Love it.
I just think the Cowboys defense is just not there. And
I was out of the country, so I haven't looked at props.
I can guarantee you, after this offseason, the Eagles wanting a tush push to be the first touchdown of the NFL season is like
the narrative is tremendous.
Just check.
Sean, why are you these are the betting tips that the people need to know. I didn't even think about that. You're so right. Like they won the Super Bowl and then they tried to take away the play that was like their biggest boon.
Sponsored
they're gonna run it down their fucking throat.
The
now
narrative
sponsored
is
by
too strong.
Wipes.
Yeah.
That's the stupidest story I've seen all season.
What about Deion Sanders having the Depends tent on the sideline of that game the other day? I thought I've never even remotely thought about a bathroom on the side of the game, but the Depends sponsorship was a clutch move. I love that. All right, next matchup, we have cheese fries lambs. Obviously I think everybody's going to pick cheese fries here, but are there any, specific kind of players to watch for either one of these teams or any matchup specifically you're looking at?
Yeah, I actually like the projection percentage as it stands, 66-34. I think James has as admirable shot as anybody to take this guy down. You're playing against Josh Allen, but he's got one of his toughest matchups with Baltimore. Same thing I kind of feel with like Gibbs to a degree, like on the road in Green Bay, like it's one of the tougher ones. If AJ Brown maybe gets maybe he only has like 60, 50, 70 yards and the touchdowns go on the ground the whole night with Saquon and Hurts. Like, I could see, and James, let's not sell James the guy short. Like, I think Eckler is a really reasonable, good player to start this week. I think Ollie Gordon is another guy that has sleeper upside as, a guy who's going to get a lot of goal line carries with the Dolphins.
I think there's a couple of guys on James's team that like I've had circled on my just watch list, I guess, for months now, just because I kind of want to see what's going to happen with these guys. I have three, and I think the first one is Keon Coleman. Has he taken the next step? I want to see that. I want to see Travion Henderson because I
Huge
think he's
camp
really
run
fucking
guy,
good.
Coleman.
Yeah, apparently Coleman's had a great camp. And then Jordan Mason, I think, is a very underrated player just in general at this point. Like he's in redraft leagues in the 10th and 11th, 12th round sometimes. Like I think he's going to get a lot more work than people are thinking. So like those three guys for James's team, if they kind of hit the numbers that they could hit, like this could really change the outlook of the Lambs this year, as maybe not so much a pushover team, as maybe we thought last year. Like I know we have some question marks at the running back position, but there's definitely guys with upside.
I mean, there's just talent now that there wasn't there last year.
Yeah, I mean, even Loveland in the tight end flex spot or tight end spot, like that could truly be a game changer at some point this season, if he's actually used, as I think it's possible that he could be used. So like there's a lot of questions, but this is like out of all the teams kind of in that, outside the playoff picture as it stands right now, like James's has the most players that I'm most interested to watch this year, which I think keeps that thing interesting. So anything else on this matchup?
You can't sleep on James. He'll be a good team.
He's one of the best managers in the league with what he's given every year.
He just doesn't have, he just doesn't have enough. He's got guys that are up and coming, so he could bite you if you maybe you have a slew of injuries and bye weeks 1 week. I still think he has some talent. He just doesn't, he's still behind at some things, and like as much as I like Loveland and Herbert, like they're not an edge compared to Allen and Andrews, and then we just take enough L's. Like we're not glazing Tibbs, but I think Tibbs is the best team in the league. Most of us think he's at least a bye week. So
I think he's a bye team personally. Like he's strong.
Are we doing picks?
Yeah, let's do a pick. Yeah. You want to rip it?
I'm picking. I mean, we're picking Tibbs.
I mean, I was picking Tibbs all the way. Oh my God!
Pulling the wool over my eyes on this one, boys.
I'm
taking the upset.
Here we go. This is the content the viewers
Give me
want.
the upset. I hate a lot of those matchups for Tibbs' team.
Tibbs?
Wow. I'm flabbergasted.
Shit.
I am.
Give me the upset Lambs, baby.
Well, no, I did. There are some bad matchups, so that's why I said it. Like, I agree with this 66-34. We're talking about a team that we say is bottom third, and then another team we say is top third. But I think that this is a reasonable breakdown. So yeah, it's not the craziest.
James's team, the Lamb Thomas, top end receiving talent, like they could go off for massive numbers. So like I believe in those two guys specifically out of everybody on this team. But then there's just so much like randomness that truly could hit. So I truly don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. But man, I can't make that picture on him. I just can't do it.
More than likely, he loses in a nice, 136 to 116 type matchup and puts up a nice fight. But yeah, it's possible. But all right. So if you get this right, you're gonna look like a wizard next week.
Yeah, that's a real fun one. I mean, this one I don't feel like we have to talk about too much, but we already talked about that one.
No, let's go to reigning champs Sean O'Shea versus
reigning
tank Dan Schwartz.
The old tank special. All right, let's take a look at some of these matchups. So we're starting running back slot over here on the right. Not pretty. It's definitely not going to work most of the season. So, is there any specific players worth talking about on that side of the equation here?
I think Dan has just like a solid 3-pack at wide receiver. I don't think it's amazing. I think
they're solid. Fine. Yep.
It'll put up some decent points, but at the end of the day, like I don't think Dan can get over like 120 this week. Like the path to that is so rare as I look over his roster.
With these running backs, I just don't see it. I really don't.
And the flexes too, man. Like we're starting Zach Ertz.
Anytime you're starting two tight ends, not a good look.
Down bad. Down real bad.
Not a good look. I will say too for Sean's side, the 5.75 projection for Tucker Kraft, I am over that. Disrespectful. Yeah, I mean I'm a believer. Yeah. So
if they do that thing on fantasy where you could bet like that, and that's what it is. I will be betting
Yeah, like
the
the
over.
underdog at 57 yards or something. I'm taking the
Especially
over.
considering outside of Golden, like all the receivers on the team have been like
We just
real up
talked
and
about.
down.
Okay,
Yeah,
right
and
now, Dubs versus Kraft. Who are you taking? I'm taking Kraft.
that's not even close. Yeah,
That's in this
Versus
game.
Romeo Dobbs versus Crab.
Oh, Kraft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's literally not even debatable for me. Like,
I'm probably gonna bet him as an anytime touchdown in that game.
I think
I
I'm
think
gonna
so
look
too.
at that underdog line for fantasy score and just I'm gonna hopefully gonna take the over on that one.
That's what I'm looking for too for him, because I think he could get yards or a touchdown. I think there's so many outs, like Mike Sachet would say.
I also
But
think
anyway,
Chase Brown
Sean has
against
so much
Cleveland should
upside.
be so fun. Like,
Sorry, say that again.
I think Chase Brown against Cleveland that should be pretty fun.
Which one of Sean's matchups aren't that fun? Like, he's got so many good ones. Like, I think
Drake London always
against
cooks the
Tampa
Bucks.
Bay.
I've seen it many times. It's never good. And this is like the start of like this. Like, I truly believe London's gonna have 1,500 yards. Like, he's gonna have like one of these just monster years. I believe
agree.
that.
I agree too. And
this is a great launching point for that. So
I like the Titans, but I think that they're
Yeah.
going to get roasted by week run against the Broncos. I don't think their
Mhm.
defense is ready at all for the Sean Payton offense. It's going to have a lot of different looks
At
and all
home,
that in
too.
week one. So I think like Sutton's another guy, like upside. Tyreek Hill in a dome after he's been getting shitted on, lost his captaincy.
didn't even
Like,
have, not even captain.
he's going to be going off too, I feel like. So no, I
I
think
also think Tracy has a beatable matchup against the Commanders. I don't think the Commanders are very good on defense. So
A 50-year-old Bobby Wagner trying to match up with those running backs out of the backfield in any receiving.
I like Tracy this week.
so the point is, I think Sean is the lock of the week. If we're doing, what's a survivor pool,
We
Sean
should do a
is
survivor for our league somehow. I don't know if
Fantasy
it's possible,
Survivor.
but it'd be hilarious.
we can at least track it. Probably the
It's
three
just
of
gonna
us
be
plus
betting
James.
against Alex and Dan every week. That's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like what team is left against Alex and Dan?
No, because we should do a rule that you have to like pick at least like
a
5
couple of
different
games.
teams before you can repeat or something like that.
There's got to be some way to do this.
We're gonna get back to the group chat. We're not gonna waste airtime on this. We're gonna get back to the group chat. We'll get it, and then we'll go from there. But the point is, Sean is my future PHU survivor pick of the week. And I think he's gonna be Dan. Dan, mind you, don't want to shit on Dan, obviously, but this is by design. He's trying to tank. We talked about, because it's not his team review, it was Alex, but Alex has a cupboard that's bare. Dan did a decent job of filling up a cupboard, for the future. It's a lot of 28s and 27s, but it's still, he's got his own pick this year too to tank. So this is all by design. Dan wants to be the biggest loser this week. I think he's on pace to do it.
And it doesn't seem like it's out of the question of or realm of possibility. All right, and then we'll go to my matchup against the Elk. So I guess the question I have for you guys in this matchup, because we don't have a lineup set and we don't have roster cuts, who would you start for this team?
That's what I'm looking for right now.
I feel like, so I mean, the running back slots are pretty locked up, and I think you could say that Neighbors and McConkey are for sure starting. But then outside of that, like what are we looking at?
Looking at it, I'm probably going with Lawrence as the quarterback going against Carolina.
Okay, so the choice is basically Lawrence, McCarthy, or Stroud.
Yeah, Stroud going against that Rams front with a very questionable offensive line isn't something that's getting me
on the road too.
Getting me excited.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah, Lawrence feels like a good bet. And then
what are you doing at tight end?
Tight end is, I mean, I would probably just roll with the Rook.
I'm going Tyler Warren. I am too. In a dome at home.
I think Tyler Warren
good about that.
is a top 10 tight end basically every week this year. Like I feel good about it. Yeah.
I think wide receiver 3 probably Devontae Smith.
Yep.
But there are options.
He's got a lot of
other options are going in the flex more than likely.
So you got Tet, Egbuka,
Worthy,
and then you've got Olave.
You wouldn't consider Worthy?
You could. Yeah,
I feel like he's in the mix.
So let's put Devontae Smith in the 3, and then I think we put Tet, Worthy in those 2 flex spots, and then we need a third flex. Do we not? Or am I missing?
Yeah, we need one more, basically. One more flex. I mean, I don't think are you putting Caleb Johnson in? I feel like that's a bit early.
No, he's a guy that I would love to be able to sit for a week or two and kind of see how things.
Yeah, the reports are good, man.
We kind of have not thought about Ekbuka.
I said Egbuka.
No, he did.
Okay.
I think Egbuka is a must start in week 1.
Yes. For
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, to me, like until further notice, I think at this point, until
I mean,
Godwin
he's
comes
just
back, like
there's just
Or
too
I
much
see-
target share coming his way for him to not be a starter.
I was saying until I see the target share not be what I anticipate, but I anticipate him having the second biggest target share on this team, not Mike Evans. He may even get more targets than Mike Evans, just not as many juicy, oh, that 30-yard play. Like he may get some kind of bullshit underneath. But either way, the point is, I think that we're going almost all wide receiver.
mhm.
I do think that
Yep.
Dustin's done a really good job of rebuilding his team, but I think a lot of the running back lottery tickets have kind of coming up short, like Tajay Spears.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys that I'm not really feeling too strongly about at this point.
Caleb, like he said, like right now, like you can't start him week 1 with him being behind Kenny Gainwell in the depth chart, and he hasn't looked good, and the reports haven't been good. Obviously, Zamir White's not playable. Giddens, I think he's a nice player. I think he's going to be. I think he's pretty
Good
solid
handcuff.
backup. Yeah, great
Yeah.
handcuff. But
Roshan is a
not
weird one.
startable yet.
What do you think about Roshan? Like, because I feel like we just
you
don't know
gotta-
anything about him. Like,
Another. We got to see what the usage looks
Gotta
like.
yeah, I
see,
want to
yeah.
see. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I'm curious just to see what the usage is.
I know what I know, and I don't know enough about that backfield.
I mean, same thing goes for like the Jacksonville backfield. I'm excited to see what they do, especially with Hunter too. Like, just
Yeah,
that's an interesting team to watch.
Yep.
Um,
But still, the value right now in this team, or the strength of this team, if as far as a competitive 2025 team, is going to be a deeper wide receiver room, being able to basically go 5-6 deep at wide receiver and feel pretty good about it. I mean, Neighbors, McConkey, Devonta Smith, Abuka,
a lot
Tet,
of talent.
that's awesome, man.
A lot of talent.
That's why I think he's rolling out. And then I think, you ready for this, Eric? You ready for this? Spicer? I think the
Malachi
last
Corley's
slot
gonna
is
start.
Leggett. Nope,
Oh.
it's Leggett. Well, Malachi Corley.
Like,
I drafted him in a dynasty.
How have we not cut Malachi Corley? Come on, Dustin. What are we doing?
Dustin's just waiting for them all to do it all at once, I think. He doesn't want to trickle
I
in.
know,
He
but
hates Reagan. He doesn't want trickling in economics, and he doesn't want it affecting his dynasty team. That's what this is about.
I think we need to have a yearly podcast for Dustin Cuts. I think we just need to set it up for like the Wednesday before.
Invite him on.
A 15-minute podcast where he just does the cuts on air, and it'll be a great time for everyone.
I want it dead silent, and it's black and white, and it's just you guys reacting while he makes the cuts silently.
Absolutely no commentary whatsoever. It's just like just us sitting there. It'll be hilarious.
Black and white film.
I think we have to organize that for next year.
Just one word responses for every cut. Like,
be like,
well, I'm pretty sure
nice.
Dustin hasn't been on the pod, so him and Dan.
Dustin and Dan are the only two at this point, I think, that have never been on.
all right, so
Maybe Dustin has been on one time, maybe.
Flip side, are we
Ooh,
considering
man.
any changes to your starting lineup in week 1?
Good question.
I have toyed with. So originally, when Rashid Rice was supposed to be playing, the early weeks, I had him as my third receiver slot. I've now kind of put that as Pickens and/or Jameson Williams, whichever one. Whichever one isn't in that receiver slot, it's a depth chart thing, just like I mentioned earlier. It's just like I want to see. It does matter to me. I don't want to just hand anybody anything. But unfortunately, I do have to hand something to one of these receivers at this point, and I think I'm going to hand it to Pickens because I like the motivational tool there to make him think that he's going to get paid. So let's put him in that wide receiver 3 slot, and then really like the 3 flexes are kind of locked and loaded at this point. I feel very good about those. Okay. I thought about like maybe if I want to get like extremely spicy, like a Dylan Sampson. Or
really.
Maybe if I was like, but that's the thing is like, I'm feeling it.
Warren,
like
man, you gotta go.
Warren's another one, and then even like a deeper down the list, like an Odunze maybe could sneak his way in at some point. But
yeah,
I want to see the Bears play.
I'm more of like a fade on compared to consensus on Jameson this year. So like for me, either of those running backs, I would definitely consider.
Yeah, I think like Jameson is kind of just like the boom bust piece of the puzzle there. Like if he hits that long touchdown or whatever, then that's the hard part about having a guy like Williams in the flex, because it's just like it could be 32 yards or it could be like a 116 and a touchdown. It's just like, and that's where like Jalen Warren is like the Pierre Thomas of my team, where it's like, oh, he's at least gonna get 40 yards on the ground and 30 yards receiving and get you the 7 and walk away. Like that's kind of the way I've been looking at Warren this whole offseason. So he's definitely startable. It's just I feel like at least with Hampton and Hubbard, like those are locked in. So it's that last flex spot that could really get.
Yeah, I mean when you're playing against a team that's going so many receivers and receivers such a boom or bust pick, like a guy like Warren can feel pretty good in a matchup like that. So
yeah, agreed. Yeah, I feel like this is probably what it's going to be, but there's maybe a chance for like a last second switch. But
No, I don't mind keeping Jameson Williams and of course Pickens both because I think they both have a lot of upside. And I like the 4-pack at running back, just locked and loaded
yeah, that's going to be pretty much
all
every
year.
week as long as
All
they're all
year.
playing. I mean,
Yeah.
really, the only thing that can change is these top 2 running backs health wise. Like that could really affect my team, and that it's been more than talked about this offseason. But
I'm an on-chain doomsayer. I don't think he has the durability. I don't think he's going to get the raw volume to produce the fantasy numbers people want him to produce. He was RB9 last year, so I'm not saying it's out of, can't happen, but we'll see. That's why I'm a big Ollie Gordon playing this week. I think on-chain will be good to go, and I do think
yeah, like
he'll
he's an
get 10
RB
plus
2
points,
probably week to week at this point for me. Like I feel like he's gonna finish in the 11 to 20 range most weeks just because of his receiving floor. But then he always has that option. Like if he gets a good matchup on a track meet, kind of like this Indy matchup, frankly, like you never know. Like in the dirt, in the dome, on the turf, like he could have a pretty nice game. But
yeah.
it's always like for him, it's just does he get that designed screen or whatever that just pops for like 65 yards and that like basically when that's your week basically, and that's kind of how he's been his whole career, frankly, so far. It's never been like a volume thing with him. It's kind of like
Nope.
does he hit those big plays? So
Definitely.
definitely
Tell you, Hampton and Hubbard both hovering around 13-point projections is pretty interesting to me. Just like hasn't played an NFL game yet, and then Hubbard
high.
just feels a little high.
I like the Hubbard one a lot more than Hampton because Jacksonville's defense still needs some work, I think, in the middle.
I think Carolina, and maybe this doesn't start week 1, but like I think it's going to be a little more timeshare than what he was doing with last year.
Yeah, I agree.
He had a ton of work last year. So,
yep.
What do you think about being the highest projected, Eric, by a solid 8 points? I mean,
I haven't seen it in 3 years now, so it's kind of cool to see. I think there's some guys that are definitely over projected, kind of like what Sean was just mentioning. Like I don't feel that 13 for Hampton in his rookie game, his first ever game, basically only had 3 carries in the preseason. Like that seems a little high. Even Hubbard, frankly, is a little high. But I just like it's going to come down to like these top guys. Like now that I have Jefferson in there, I got McCaffrey back after not having him basically all last year. Nico Collins is healthy right now for literally the time being because he's going to get hurt. But like having all these guys, like I'm not used to seeing all of them in the lineup. So that's the difference this year. And hopefully they just find a way to stay healthy. That's really what it comes down to. So it does feel interesting to be the top projected guy right now, but I still think there's like the cheese fries and long gamers are both like not far off at all. And even the Lionheads down there, not far off either. So really it's just going to be a week to week thing, just based on, can I start the right guys? And that's the age old question when you get in this phase of like having some depth. It's like, do I start these right flex guys like a Jameson Williams or a Jalen Warren or a Dunze or any of these other Pickens? And like, it's kind of going to be a revolving door in that last spot. So we'll see.
But who you picking? Who you guys picking against?
I'm going to go Eric. That's a good one.
I'm going to give it to the Armadillos. There's less questions as far as like your flex players or running backs. You just feel more comfortable with the workload compared to the volatility of receivers. The quarterback position is a major advantage.
And I think the quarterback and then also tight end for me as well with having Bowers feels pretty good in terms of what I'm playing against. So I would give myself the edge probably here as well. All right, so that's the week 1 matchups, and we're getting close to 2 hours, so we'll try to keep it right at 2 hours. Let's go to our next little phase here in our final phase of this episode 100 podcast. We have this lovely color coordinated spreadsheet that's just beautiful to look at. And once again, thank you to James, and I know you worked a little bit on this as well, Vince, with some input as well. So just an awesome job and I think if it's not already in the Discord, we'll get James to put it in the Discord. But this is a review essentially of every championship team since the league's inception in 2011. And then if we scroll to the right, it'll show you every single runner-up and every single almost candidate, which I thought was fun as well. So like maybe the team that maybe got bounced early off in the playoffs or something like that, like kind of shows you basically at a high level what the story of the season was. And I think it's really fun to go through. So it might be a little hard to see on screen. I try to blow up as much as I can. But maybe Vince, since I know you've had a chance to look at this, is there anything specific that you wanted to mention in terms of just like observations, things that you found interesting, anything like that?
Well, specifically, the first year we did not have all the flexes.
That's a great point. Really good point. So the numbers will be lower there.
So the numbers will be a little bit off, but other than that first year, everything else is a little bit more homogenized. And yeah, so I did want to make that note. Yeah, like so James did a phenomenal job putting in a lot of these notes and different things about what made different teams have, the intangibles that made them who they are, or could have made them a runner-up. Can you scroll to the right a little bit? I want to see.
I can,
something.
yeah. So I think the interesting thing, so once again, the color coordination kind of gives you a good idea of like which were the top, with the green, obviously, which were the top, units. Like first, like my team, I noticed when I was looking through this, I had a really good year in 2018 with a regular season of 154, which I want to say was one of the highest of all of these.
Yep.
I think if not the highest, and I didn't win the championship that year, which hurt. So I found that to be interesting. That was also Saquon's rookie year, and that was also like a monster Tyreek Hill season, which James noted. So like once again, once this gets into the Discord, please look at this. James did such an awesome job, and it gives you a really good kind of view of like each one of these teams and what made them good as well, and what kind of were the storylines from each one of those years. For example, James, is in 2023, he was the runner-up to Sean in that championship. But that was kind of CMC. That was like one of his big years. And then Mike Evans also had a big year. And that was kind of like James's last hurrah, if you will, before this kind of retool, rebuild thing he's got going on right now. So I thought that to be interesting. Also considering he had 162 points per game in the playoffs that season, which is crazy. The highest of any runner-up. I thought that was interesting as well. And just couldn't get it done in that final season before the rebuild. So that's like, just one of those interesting storylines. Also notable that Dan, basically from 2020 to 2022, was either the almost candidate or the runner-up with very, very good teams those years, and just could not get the job done. Tried every which way. Even the year that he had Josh Allen as QB1 and the Justin Jefferson rookie year, just still couldn't get it to finish that that job at the end. But I thought that was an interesting one. Sean, is there anything that you're kind of seeing here, or Vince, that you want to kind of mention before we wrap up? I think there's, like, I kind of wanted to circle like what championship teams like maybe were a little bit fluky, where they didn't quite have.
Sean, or it's Scavelli and Alex. Scavelli had the Cam Newton title. It was the Cam Newton 2015 with Jordy Nelson, where like kind of just had them like go nuts, but you could see the numbers basically show you that, like, I mean, he was barely over 500, but Cam Newton just said, "Hop on my back, bro."
I mean, realistically, these 4 seasons, actually 3, maybe not even 3, 2. The James year 4 victory with only 124 points per game in the playoffs and still won the championship game. Like that was the Jeremy Hill year, actually. Now that I'm looking at the notes, which is a fun nugget. But those 2 seasons were pretty low in terms of just like having big numbers. And then James as well in 2019 was a relatively low playoff points per game, but still got the job done, made it count when it mattered most. So that's interesting. And then I kind of even forgot that I started 3-6 in 2020 and still won the championship, because I remember that was a struggle for the beginning 9 games of that year.
And that was the year I was going to say, like, my team had no business, like, just looking at it talent-wise, making the finals, and it just kind of kept winning in the playoffs.
Yeah, looking at your team.
I think it was like the 5 or 6 seed. I think it was the 6 seed. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, you had 11 wins that season, but realistically, I think your playoff points per game were like 136, which is like good enough to win. It's just not like these monster numbers.
Getting carried by Lamar in the playoffs. I'm pretty confident that's what happened. Not that that's not what hasn't happened every year, but yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting to note too. Like, I think maybe like all these, 6 seasons, it feels like did we just get better? Is
No,
like,
we
can we,
added the quarterback
or is there like
2-point
the
touchdowns
the
as
up?
well.
Yep. Okay, that
Quarterback.
was gonna say that's a great point.
I would say it's that, and I think there's been more teams tanking in those years
Yeah, in the
compared
regular season.
to parity before that.
I would just say dynasty process in general has come a long way for the league, and with people tanking makes people going all in, and
Yeah.
it takes two to
Just
tango.
skewing those top teams a little higher because of the talent disparity.
Correct. And James and I have had this conversation a lot too. That like, you know, now we feel like we're entering a new era where people are trying to build more sustainable long-term winners because we've seen the thing of like, all right, it was fun, but do you really want to take 2 to 4 years to rebuild it back? I'm not so sure. Like, can you build a sustainable winner where no one's saying you can't trade first round picks, but maybe you try and we try to trade first round picks for players that have a 5 year window and not a 2 year window. So you can maybe
Yeah.
keep a long term thing and say, James and I talk about this, like going all in with the year. So like when you're going all in with this year's picks, but maybe the next year's picks, like, hey, if stuff goes wrong, I can always return and say, hey, I have the option to take it easy. Um, and so I think that has been errors of this dynasty league, and I would say that um, I think it's also not a coincidence that Ian left the league around that time as well,
Yeah.
and probably
That's
started
fair.
stopping to skew some numbers himself.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
right. I think I came back in 2018. So
And stop
yeah.
taking Kenny Dixon in the first round. That helps things.
Good
So
God, holy fuck. So
I know
yeah,
that
like I
happened.
think that also came and then also like helped stabilize numbers. And I think since then, I would consider 2018 to now, more the
Like modern
modern
day. Yeah,
age.
modern
Yeah.
day dynasty.
Ironically, fucking, if you look to like go look at the runner-up list, like it's like Vince, and like yeah, I obviously have a winner in there too. And then like my team got old, aged out, and I think dynasty philosophy became a thing. Dynasty leagues weren't as popular when we started this, and now it's a bigger thing. And so there's resources to learn
Definitely
how
more
to build a
media out there.
dynasty team.
Hmm.
Yeah, and podcasts that you can consume, find out sleepers and draft coverage geared towards drafting dynasty starters and things like that. And I think us
Great point.
entering that era has skewed it. So we are all better players where the top teams are better.
Yeah, and to your original point, just like in terms of rebuilding, like I've done it now, and it's like that first year is kind of fun because the expectations are non-existent, and it's fun to kind of fuck around with like the lower end talents and try to talk yourself into guys like Jalen Conyers and Jackson Meeks and stuff like that. Like that has its place, but once you get into year 2 and 3, like your patience is like, all right, like this it was fun, but now it's like I don't want to do this anymore. It's like I would rather just play and try to keep, like, now that I've seen it and done it, I feel like the model that Sean's going for, kind of even James to some extent, where it's not like we're trading everybody away, but we're kind of retooling. That seems like the more sustainable, but also like better process just for year to year. Like, yeah, you're gonna take a loss here on maybe trading away an AJ Brown, but then you get like a Drake London, or trading away a Kyron and kind of just retooling in that way and getting a little younger and things like that. Like I feel like that's probably the most, like, at least for what I would consider to be like the most fun and sustainable way to win every year, or at least give yourself a chance to win every year, which is like you're not just ending up in complete rebuild purgatory where it's like, okay, I know I can't win this year, and like it's not terrible, but it's like, how long do you stay down there is the question.
Well, I think
And
it's
that's
all about windows and pockets, and I think that you want to keep your pick and try to be that 4, 5, 6 line
mhm.
until you. And I think Dan's a really great example for this, and I think the data on this shows, like when Dan got a rookie Justin Jefferson, and it's like, oh, now I don't need to keep fishing for lottery tickets. I just had some moron take Brian Edwards before me, so Justin Jefferson fell to me. So now that I've been gifted this, let's run with it. Let's go with it. Let's surround this with a window. Dan's, I don't want to get too much into the philosophy on Dan's specific like what he did during that time, but like I think he traded for a lot of like older players that shortened the window too much, like Devonte Adams
Mhm.
type players, and a lot of them were also at positions that were repetitive. And so now we're down the line and we don't have the draft picks to restock the running back room to keep it relative to everything else we had going on.
Right,
Maybe we
and
should
also
have
too,
done.
just like moving on from some of these players, like kind of I hate to bring it back to the Bombers with like an Ezekiel Elliott, and like maybe holding on to guys a little long as well, and then you kind of end up in this spot. Like that's a piece of the puzzle as well.
I say to James all the time, like I want to be in a position to use my running backs when they're getting old and get that last bit of juice out of them. I don't want to turf them for third round picks to someone else who then gets that last 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns out of a guy. I
Yeah,
want that player to
that
be
makes sense.
my surprise flex player and come and buoy my team and keep my core going, not give that player to somebody else because I just can't see how I could use them because I just don't have a core for that older player to stick around and be relevant still.
Yeah, I feel like a perfect example of that maybe this year for your team, like if maybe it's dropped in value as of late, is like a David Montgomery. Like that would, not be like I don't think you're going to get a ton in return for him, but
But
like
on a
he
contender.
absolutely could contend and give you, 10 to 15 touchdowns potentially, and like
Mhm.
that's a league winning type of player. So,
But if he was on
um,
Alex's team, he would have gone at most probably closer to like what the DeAndre Swift deal was.
yeah,
Because a
like a
guy like Alex
second.
says, what could I even if David Montgomery got me a 15 touchdown year, what is he doing for me?
Yeah, it's like what's the value of having that on my roster as opposed to a contending player having them on the roster? Yeah, interesting. Yeah, go ahead. One last
No,
point.
I say while I have guys like Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, without them, hoping for that David Montgomery spike year is obsolete. I have the core, and
Mhm.
now I'm hoping that between Pacheco, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, one or two of them can spike and have RB12 year, RB14 year, something like
Yeah,
that to go with two RB1s. And like I said, now I'm reaping the benefit of my older running backs or maybe lesser running backs having those spike years. And that's, in my opinion, how a lot of people on these graphs hit was either rookies came out of nowhere or it was just like, wow. Like, I mean, even Alex's title was that. Alex's title was the Four
rookie
Horsemen.
fever. Yeah.
4 running backs, just damn, dude, you got 4 running backs in the top 12. That's really fucking tough to beat week to week. That's really hard.
I mean, Scavelli is a perfect example of that last year with kind of the people that thought, oh, like maybe Derrick Henry's getting too old. And then like Saquon, I guess everybody knew he was good, but just having,
Is he elite?
3 or 4 of those guys all hit, in the same year.
Hmm.
That's kind of like basically the same concept there.
Exactly.
But anyway, I will post this if James doesn't, or he already hasn't. So y'all can take a look at this because this is pretty cool stuff, and I imagine this is going to get updated year to year. So,
Yeah.
we'll just keep this rolling. This was a great episode 100. We covered a lot. We had some hot takes. Sean, maybe just let's talk about like a couple hot takes, and then we can wrap this up. Because I know that we were already pretty deep here,
But
but
it's the 100th episode. We can go a little over for the 100th.
I mean, I'm fine with ripping like at this point, but
Let's just fucking rip it, man.
let's
Rip
fucking
it.
rip it. All right, hey,
Go.
we're here.
Go.
All right, we'll let
All
it
right.
rip.
Here we go. All right.
Here we go.
First hot take. Dak Prescott throws for 5,000 yards and 40
Holy
touchdowns this year.
shit, 5K
I love
is a
that.
lot. But I dude, that the defense stinks. It's even worse now because we haven't even talked about Micah Parsons on this podcast yet.
Yep.
They're even worse now. They're going to be in shootouts all year. They have no running game. I really believe in that. I don't feel terrible about that at all. I don't know, Vince.
So-
are you on board with that?
Yeah, no, I think their defense is gonna be shit. Be a lot of shootouts. Exactly. Sounds good. 5,000 yards. It might be 5,000 yards and 20 interceptions, and the record might be fucking 9-8. But yeah, I can still see it.
So to go along with the 5K and 40 touchdown passes, George Pickens will finish as a top 12 receiver in fantasy.
Oh my
this year.
god, your spirit! I would love that so much. How much does he get paid at the end of the season if that happens?
I mean, he's probably getting a bag.
Is he getting 100 mil?
If Lamb gets hurt, no.
I can't give him 100 mil.
If Lamb's healthy, yes.
Right. They benefit each other. It is a synergy with those two. They complement each other very well.
But if it just
So,
is Lamb gets hurt and then we're just giving Pickens a bunch of shitty targets and he
I mean, we're back
volumes
to
his way,
Pittsburgh last year, but with a
yeah,
little bit with a better quarterback.
yeah,
Where
then
it's
I'm not
tough.
as impressed.
So, all right,
I can't pay him that much either way. So
next. All right, Eric loved that one. Vince is gonna love this one. Bijan has over 1,000 yards receiving this year.
no,
Oh,
1,000
you're telling me in 1K,
receiving.
1K? Oh, I'm gonna 1K my
Mhm.
pants.
Oh, the double. That would be
Oh,
sick.
I'd
And
buy
that's
so much
not
of his
crazy,
mustard.
really. Like, I mean, it is a little crazy, but it's not that crazy.
If he was wide receiver 2 on that team, if Drake London had
He is wide receiver too, my
1,800
opinion.
yards and Bijan had again 1,000, like, it wouldn't stun me. It would just be like, man, that means Penix really must have had a good year. Is where I think that's derived from.
I mean, offensively, I don't have many question marks for the Falcons other than Penix, really. I mean, it's just like, can he do it over the whole
Yeah.
year?
And the
'Cause
line now, I mean,
the line is a
let's not
question mark.
let's not bury the lead. They lost their right tackles,
I
1
mean,
and 2.
and blindside guy
They're
too.
talking about
Yeah,
they're
for
talking about moving
Penix.
Bergeron out to right tackle, which is interesting.
Yep,
Gives
I
me a
it's
like
lot
not,
of Joe
Bergeron a lot
Tooney
though.
vibes
So
from last year.
and I don't
the
know if they
only
have the offensive
okay,
coaching to cover it. So
yeah, the coaching situation is strange, but I also
I
like
like Zach
Moon.
Robinson.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel yet. I want to
this
see.
is
I
a
want to see some
tall
more.
order, man. You
Yeah, I
don't
don't
have the
know.
most talent to
And
cover up a
Mooney,
lot of problems.
I think Mooney's still good, but he's definitely banged up right now.
Yeah. All right. Let me stick on the Falcons. I have this one maybe not even super hot at this point. I got Drake London leading the league in targets this season.
I mean,
Yeah, no,
you know
that's not
I'm
even
all
that
in on
spicy.
that. Like, I just feel so strongly about Drake London this year. I think
Yeah.
he's
I
gonna be
thought about
huge.
taking it a step further and saying triple crown, but somebody doing a triple crown back to back years just felt like that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, that would be
So,
a lot. That would be a true hot take, I think.
all right, this one for the sickos out there. Harold Fannin will finish top 3 in targets on his team this year.
Oh, that is for the sickos right there. Holy
I
shit.
fucking love it
Holy
though. I
cow.
fucking love it though. Because I
Holy
love
shit.
Harold Fannin, and I think who has him? Scavelli. That would
Yeah.
be such a Scavelli thing. That would be like so. I love Harold Fannin.
All right, let me hit you with some of mine.
Yeah, rip a couple,
DJ
yeah.
Moore will be top 20. Roma Dunze will be outside the top 40. That's
Wow.
one of mine. I have
Good,
Matthew
but reverse
Golden
that.
will be top 25. And well, that's why it's a hot take, is because DJ's the one on top and Rome's the one on bottom. But
I just feel I mean, obviously I'm a Roma Dunze supporter, but I just don't like DJ Moore that much. I just like I think I'm just much lower than most people on him.
there is a universe where DJ Moore gets a lot of the love, gets peppered, and where Rome
Yeah.
just
I
isn't
mean,
in the doghouse for whatever reason. So
there's still a lot of question marks with Roma. I'll sit here and say that. Like I want to see I need more from him. I need to see a lot more.
But yeah, so another one I have is that Matthew Golden is a top 25 receiver and has over
love that.
120 targets because I don't know who else fuck they're throwing to at this point.
Tucker Kraft, that's it.
Tucker Kraft, baby.
Yeah, like we talked about earlier, Tucker Kraft, that's it. Another spicy take is Tyreek Hill will not be on the Dolphins by the trade deadline.
Ooh, that's a spicy one. And
Those are some
that
of the
one,
late
like,
big
See
ones.
that?
like, dude, he's got to be the player that I've had zero exposure to him whatsoever this year. I just don't want to deal with it, frankly. Like, I just don't know what it's going to look like week to week. If he's going to crash out and end up on another team or just some dumb shit, like I'm just out. So I wouldn't be surprised by that at all.
Best ball. That's it.
Great best ball player, absolutely.
That's it. That's it for me. IRL. I'm stuck IRL with him right now.
Yeah,
So it's
you have
IRL and best ball. But those
Yeah.
are mostly my wide receiver ones. I like Travis Hunter as a rookie. I don't like his long-term prospects because I do think the cornerback will rear its head. But I do think there's a chance he's a top 30, 35 wide receiver this year in fantasy. This year.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think they're just like the draft capital and like how much they spent to get him, and like it would be kind of wild for him to not be very utilized on offense. To me, like I just feel like he's
I
gonna
agree.
have the volume of some kind, whether it be those Liam Cohen jet sweeps or running plays or drag routes and whatever. I am concerned about his durability. That's really it. I mean, like I just think he's gonna get hurt.
That's part of my thing about the long term. That's why I think he'll be good this year. But the long term future, I think it's going to get to a point where it's just like we're not using him that much on both sides of the ball. We're going to pick one and go with it. But also, I think Liam Combs creative. I don't know who else there really is to throw two outside of Brian Thomas Jr. Like that's
I mean, De'Ami Brown, Parker Washington, Brandon Strange. That's basically it.
The running backs. I mean,
And the running backs.
running backs don't
Liam
inspire me
Cohen-
either.
Coin to Allen, the plank, the 2x4.
But Liam Cohen utilizing running backs wouldn't surprise any of us in the passing game based off of his previous year.
I just one quick note on Travis Hunter. I watched his Colorado highlights again the other day just for shits and gigs to remember how good he was. Dude, he's ridiculous.
Electric.
Like, he's absolutely insane. Like, one of the best ball skills I've ever seen. Like, just incredible.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
I got 6 more that I can rip real
Oh,
quick.
go. Give me some. Yeah. Those are
and I have
wide
a few from
receiver
the field
ones.
that we'll get
This
to
one-
at the end.
This one's for Eric. Dylan Sampson ends up being a dude, and Quinshon Judkins gets traded halfway through the year.
Whoa.
Oh, I love that.
Whoa, the
love
trade.
that.
I mean, like, I believe in Dylan Sampson, but Quinshon getting traded would be wild. Like,
Depressed asset, pissed off the team, got in trouble, ships him away.
but like, what do you even get back for Quinshon?
It's-
Anything?
I don't know.
Like, that's like that.
That
I don't
was
even know
not
what
part
the
of the Sunday.
compensation would look like. It's crazy business.
All right,
Oh,
next one.
I love that one, by the way, for me.
Ricky Pearsall finishes as a top 20 wide receiver. This
Yes. One of
Dude,
my I love that.
He's
That's
my
one of mine,
like
too.
round 9 and 10. I must have him in every draft guy. I'm so pissed I didn't get him in redraft, but I love him as like that just one-off rant. Like, first receiver on your bench in redraft. I want Ricky Pearsall every time. Like,
That's
that's
where he
my
is
guy.
for me.
Like,
I'll
Yes.
take him starting at wide receiver 3 even.
yeah,
I don't
I
care.
wouldn't hate that at all. I think
All
that's great. I'm glad we're all aligned on Ricky Pearsall.
Next one. May, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels all finish as top 10 quarterbacks this year in
Holy
fantasy.
fuck! All of them.
All 4 of them.
Yeah, it's not that crazy. I could see that.
All right. He's
Yeah, I
unmoved.
mean,
He's
I like
unmoved.
that. I like
I-
that one. No, I like that one.
I have questions, but yeah. I know-
All right, let me hit you with one of mine. I think that Brees Hall will be a top 10 running back. And I know that is,
I'm out on that one.
yeah, that is hearsay right now. But I think he has the chops, man.
I just
I don't think
traded
he's
for him in
bad.
Galactic, and I wish I believed that, but I do not. But I just took a talented player on a depressed value.
I think
But
he's
that's
gonna
why
be
I
so
think he
much
could
better on whatever team
do
he
it.
ends up on next. Like, that's just I just don't trust the Jets in any way, shape,
Yeah.
or form to do anything right.
He's going to
Like,
be everybody's wish cast. Please trade this guy.
Could you
Yes,
imagine if he gets
please.
traded to the Chiefs or something, dude?
I said
Like-
that in the last pod we did.
I know that's why I brought it up again, because you said it
I'm
already.
like,
It was tremendous. I was like, oh my
Excuse me,
god,
guys.
he's
Can you
beautiful.
guys stop depressing my Isaiah Pacheco stash?
true, that's it.
Cheers.
He's
fair
in
question.
a contract year anyway. He's fine.
Have you know?
For all your luck, he'll get traded to like the Browns, and it'll just be like another shit situation or something.
Yeah, for fucking Judkins.
All right.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
Monkey
There's your
ball
competition.
This is gonna be some shit starting with Vince. This next hot
Oh
take. of
boy,
mine.
here we go.
I've got Calvin Ridley finishes ahead of JSN in fantasy this year.
Holy Toledo.
You know, I actually don't. I like them both so much. I like JSN a lot, but like if JSN had 1,200 yards and only like 6 touchdowns, it wouldn't shock me. Whereas if Calvin Ridley had, you know, similar yardage, maybe a little less, but 10 touchdowns, I could believe it, and that, you know, may balance out the points for it. So I like JSN. I have him in a few leagues this year, but I'm pretty all in on Calvin Ridley too. I think Calvin Ridley is gonna have a really good year, and I'll actually piggyback. One of my quarterback hot takes is Cam Ward is locked and loaded rookie of the year, which is
I have that bet placed already.
controversial over Genti. It wouldn't be in most years, but
I feel like the quarterback, like, what are the odds are you getting on something like that right now?
I didn't even look for that.
He was plus 300 something when I took him.
Yeah, I feel
That's
pretty
great.
good about that. Yeah, I feel really
Yeah.
good about that.
Ripped
I mean-
it. As soon as I saw that he was behind anybody as like the only legitimate like quarterback that was going to play all the games, I'm like, hell yeah!
Well, it's him,
You
Genti,
can-
or Travis Hunter, right?
Like
Who else
in a
even is
league
there,
where
really?
Brock
Omar, maybe?
Bowers doesn't win Rookie of the Year, like, and you're not to say Jaden Daniels was awesome last year, but like you have to do just amazing things as a non-quarterback to be considered for that, and you just have to be like a top 20 quarterback in your rookie year. Not that that's not hard.
There's
but,
really
like,
not a high bar to, yeah. Like,
you're just playing from behind if you're not a quarterback for any of those awards. So,
I agree with your point. It's point taken, but I don't want to minimize the years CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels had when they usurped Puka and Brock Bowers respectively, because I
Right.
think both of
Yeah,
them are
that's
great
crazy.
examples for the point you're making. I
Mhm.
just think that kind of like Eric Dickerson not winning MVP the year that he got 2,000 yards rushing. And it's like, what do you mean? He set the rushing record. How did that not win MVP? And it's like, oh, because he went up against Dan Marino that year, who threw for 5,000 yards. So, like,
Yeah.
I kind of think that that's more of a symptom of what happened with Puka and Brock Bowers, less that and it's coincidence it happened twice, less than it is. Like, I think if Cam Ward leads the Titans to a top 3 pick and is kind of like how Drake May is last year, he is not winning that award over a Genty who has 1,400 yards.
Fair.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
seems fair. Hey, real quick before you move on, I was just thinking about it in my head because I have a couple of guys ranked pretty closely. Back to Calvin Ridley.
Ooh.
Calvin Ridley, the non PPR standard league. Calvin Ridley or Garrett Wilson.
Ridley.
I'm
That's
a
a
Garrett
tough-
Wilson guy. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
I know
Garrett
that's
Wilson.
that's a crazy. Like
I'm going
I was
Garrett
thinking about, I was
Wilson.
like, yeah, like because if Garrett Wilson only has like 5 touchdowns, then like
They
yeah,
are
I can
they're
see.
still close to me in my rankings if I remember correctly, but I'm gonna take Ridley.
Interesting. Okay, continue.
They're
Peter.
close too, but I lean Garrett Wilson. I just think he'll have a little bit more targets,
Yeah, if
even
you're
if
just
they're
asking
not
me
as
what
good.
receiver is better, like it's Garrett Wilson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that nobody's gonna disagree at that. I think at this point, but
Okay, I got 2 more. Here we go.
rip
Go.
them.
For Eric's insider, this one's for him. I've got Devontae Adams over Puka Nacua in points per game this year.
I've heard this from a
Holy
source,
shit.
but I also don't think that's that crazy. Like I feel like Puka might take a step back this year potentially. Like also he's always hurt. He's always banged up in
That's
some
why I
way.
said points per game.
Yeah, so I mean, like I just feel like Devontae is just like a perfect fit, like for that offense. Like I mean, he's such a good route runner. I think he's gonna have a great rapport with Stafford. So I believe in that one. But that is a hot take based on where they're drafted for sure. I mean, like redraft wise, like Puka is basically, what is he now? Like a 2-3 turn kind of guy at this point. Like I don't
It's tough
remember
to
where he
say
went.
because he shifted so much because of the Stafford injury, so it's hard to
Yeah,
tell.
that's true. But like you can get Devontae in what, like 4 or 5 most drafts.
James got him in like the 6th round or something.
That's crazy value.
5th round.
Great value.
Yeah. Okay, last one. I saved the spiciest one for last.
Actually, real quick before you continue, James had a hot take, and his hot take was Devontae Adams becomes the number 1 targeted wide receiver on the Rams by week 5 and outscores Puka for the whole year. So he agrees with.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I love
He's
that.
with you.
I love the
Yes.
coincidental
Hey.
hot take.
Hey.
That's great.
Look
He
at us.
stole your hot take.
Look at us. I'm sorry, James. All right, here we go. Austin Eckler will finish as a top 20 running back.
I love it. I'm in on it now. I wasn't in on it a week ago, but I told you I'm not in. I'm not buying, Bill.
I wrote that down 2
I'm out.
weeks ago.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
I don't believe in
I wrote
Austin
that
Eckler
down
anymore,
as
and I
soon
hate
as
that
Brian
I'm not
Robinson
in
returned.
because I like Austin Eckler, but I just
Why?
am not in.
And I'll explain this one. I was just kind of
Hell,
ripping
Eric.
the other ones. I'll explain this. He will get all the high leverage opportunities on that team. I think
In a good offense. I think that's
in a
important.
good offense. He'll get the goal line
That's a good
carries
point.
because he's a quality goal line back.
He's not going to fumble.
And he's going to get all the receiving and 4-minute offense, 2-minute offense work on that team.
Yeah.
And I don't
I'm
know
in.
if anybody else on that team can pass protect. I have no clue.
Not a clue.
Like, I mean, I don't know anything about him. Like, no idea.
I'm going to go a step further with your Austin Eckler hot take, and I'm going to say James moves off of him by week 8 and is very
Really?
happy with his return.
I
Interesting.
almost traded for him today.
There you go. There you go. It's
Trades are
coming
being
in hot and
developed
heavy.
right here. They're being
The price just
incubated
went
right
higher.
now. The
Price of brick just
got a
gone
little
up.
higher. Got to get them early. Got to get them early. That
Yeah,
was your
no,
last one, Sean?
That was my last one.
Vince, you got any more?
Yeah, I was just going to say my hot take was going to be that you, me, and Adam will own 12 of the top 20 points per game running backs when the year is done.
I could see that for sure. I think I have at least a couple. I mean, 3 probably at least, and then that 4 one might be a tricky one to get in. But I think 3. If Hampton gets all the work, and then yours. I mean, I think for sure, Bijan,
Basically saying we'll
JT.
have 4 each.
Yeah, I mean that 4 is. I mean, if you really believe in Hubbard, then yeah. I feel like Dowdle is going to take a little bit more, like Sean has mentioned a couple of times, like on third downs, because I think Chuba sucks on third down. I do. I actually believe that still, and I like Chuba now, but
I'm gonna look for that more actually this year. It's not something I've really.
he doesn't catch
last
the
note-
ball.
Yeah, last note on that for me is totally slept on the second half of the year that Jonathan Taylor had last year. He was
Great.
so good the second half of last year.
And he was banged up like early in the season, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So like
Yeah.
that had something to do with it.
So in that auction draft I did, he was the fifth most fifth highest paid running back or whatever. He went for like 62. Bijan went for 66. Gibbs was
Wow.
65. So like he was right up there with them.
What was like the biggest, like just completely off track? Like what was the biggest overpay in that league? Like I'm just curious in general.
There was some just not good value plays, and it usually comes at the top like that. I hate to say it was Mike Evans was one of them. He was like $48, and I thought that was
Whoa.
really expensive for like the type of player he is right now.
That's pretty high. That's pretty high. I don't know if I could do that. All right, sweet. I have two hot takes from James. These are from James.
I love it.
I didn't get any other ones off rip, so these are James's. This is a good one for Ollie Gordon supporters, and which is basically James and
me.
And you, of course. And I like Ollie Gordon as a player. Ollie Gordon finishes as the Dolphins' highest scoring running back this season, as hand calf injury lingers. And Ollie Gordon reminds us why he was a former top running back prospect.
I love
that
so much.
That is extremely spicy.
Says the guy a couple years ago that said he was in the tank for Ollie Gordon. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved Ollie Gordon too. Like I think it's unbelievable that he was literally like a Doak Walker winner, Heisman level candidate, and then went kind of just to nothing in terms of NFL draft prospects talk. And then now he's like back again. Like
if you look at the history of those winners for that award in the NFL, the success rate for anybody that didn't have a debilitating injury is insane.
It's actually almost the same as like the it's not the Bolitnikoff, it's the John Mackey tight end award winner. Like if you're one of those and you're not Harrison Bryant, basically, like you're a monster. Like Harrison Bryant's the only one that is like really busted recently. Like every one of them has been very, very good.
And he has a situation. A lingering calf injury is the type of soft tissue injury. It's the type of thing that, if Devin Achane got relegated to more third down back, I could see Ollie Gordon having a Raheem Moss start 15 touchdown type year and being a stud muffin. Now James has two RB1s with Eckler and Ollie Gordon. What happened here?
And then James is a playoff contender.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Sorry, Justin, I took your spot.
I could see like Ollie Gordon being like a Jamal Williams type back wouldn't totally surprise me. Like where he gets all those touchdowns and just maybe not a ton of volume. And then James's last one was the Kentucky Elk realized, actually this is the one I was talking about earlier. The Kentucky Elk realized choosing weekly flex starters from similar ranked receivers is a losing proposition, and finally make a big consolidation move for a stud player. So that I don't know when, but that's a James hot take. Is that at some point
that's nice spicy, a league centric spicy one. I love.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of league hot takes. Maybe next year we should preface this with like more league, like I want to see more like crazy predictions for the actual season. All right. Great episode. A lot of ground we covered. A lot of fun. Once again, episode 100. Thank you guys for watching these. I know that we've done a lot of these, but then there's also like some that maybe it won't be that interesting just because of the topic or whatever team we're reviewing. But appreciate all the views, everybody watching, giving us input, giving us hot takes to talk about, giving us. We'll do a league poll as well soon. I know we didn't do like a preseason kind of league poll this year. But I was thinking maybe after like week 4 or 5, when we kind of get a feel of what things are going to look like, that might be kind of a fun poll to do at that point, or maybe mid-season. But if you have any other random topics that you want to bring up throughout the season, please let me know. But we're going to try to do one a week. I was kind of thinking just keep the Tuesday thing going. You just to do like weekly matchups, recap the week before, 45 minutes, something like that. During the season, because there will be plenty to talk about as the season goes on with injuries and all that kind of stuff. So should be a lot of fun. And until next time, we will see you on episode 101. The 101 down.